Daddy's not listening. That's why I'm your daddy too. Because you're fucking shook, Stavely. Why are you acting like you're such a big, tough guy and you're on the internet? Be your own man. Be a tough guy, right? You ain't that. Why are you acting like that to an audience? While you laugh and giggle while you're uncomfortable, laughing out of uncomfort. You ain't going to come over here and tell me suck your dick. So why are you doing it over there? Fake ass, weak ass motherfucker. While you watch and hate on me. I don't know of you. You knew of me. I was only told about you through other folks on here, through the number counters and planet watchers and all the twoofers doing information and coming together. Yeah, that's how I know of you. Third party through hearsay. Hey, there's a clown over there, Brian Stabley. He says you're amazing 1 minute and then the next minute talks shit about you and hates. Right. What else is new? Nothing new. But you bitch ass motherfuckers never come up on these panels and talk to me directly. None of you. You never come around here. You watch, wait, and hate, but you never come up on the panels and address me directly. Then you want to talk about me other places, acting like you get points for that. Just makes you look like a hoe. You like it. I love it. We're going to get to Brian from High Impact Flicks. Here's the deal. Because he apparently posted a video of myself and Brian O'Shea. So obviously it happened here, but maybe not everybody saw it. So we're going to review it here again. Maybe even do some commentary on self, because a lot of times when we get into these interactions, we all make mistakes. We all don't choose the best words and terms. And, you know, I'm a stickler for that at times, but I also reconcile that, hey, when we are on the ground and when the adrenaline's high and we're in the middle of these interactions, you got to go with what you got, you know, and you got to speak more to the spirit of the law rather than the letter of the law anyway. You know, the words and terms matter. Our understandings of it matter, but ultimately it's about the sentiment to potentially activate them to be what they know they're meant to be and do what's true and what's right. That really seems to be not the hope, but the only faith, right? We have to do what's true and what's right and communicate that to others and remind them of their position and obligation and remind them where they're falling short and where they're acting like broken children with projections and rejections, ignorance and arrogance, and belligerence to the truth. Right. And then they want to claim we're being belligerent to a system. You guys are antithetical to truth. You're not following your own process and procedures properly. You're definitely not following the law under God and the law of this land. And then you want to claim we're the ones out of bounds because we won't do Holocaust, Nazi fascism and accept it because we know the majority of citizen slaves have, including you folks in costumes. And it's cost us our economy and society and culture at this point. Everything that is good and true and great and Americana has gone away or is going away. And you're going to continue to roll on with this and think that we're not going to correct our status and standing and then stand on that truth and tell you your statutes, policy, and codes are meaningless because they're inherently immoral and destructive to everything that is good and true on this land. It's not going to happen. We're not going away. It's over. The last 4 years woke everybody up, including you. And you know what needs to be done now. And if not, you know where it's going. So let's get right or we're going to get gone here very shortly. We're all on the way out anyway. We could all die at any moment. I don't know what the fuck you folks are hanging on to and clinging to and selling your soul to keep. It's fucking embarrassing.
Going on right now is just wrong. Like if you can't feel that in your gut, in your spirituality, and understand that, feel what in my gut? That there's no injured party. So when we go to court, as you mentioned, there's no injured party that's going to show up. So this doesn't make sense. I guarantee the judge in traffic court will not worry about that. Yeah, but what about you as a man? Do you have a conscience right now that you pulled over another man operating his property and there's no lawsuit, there's no injured party?
Ignorance of the law is no excuse, sir. This has been ruled on over and over again. Just because you presume what you've been told or shown is the absolute truth does not mean it is. To presume that he has to follow what you don't know is ridiculous. Again, the whole point of the Constitution and the whole point of the law of the land is to protect people's right to freedom of movement. If we can't move freely and we can't speak freely, then we're not free. We're enslaved. There's no other way to see it. We didn't contact you. We're not in need of your service or protection at this time. But there's some beliefs and some claims that are being made that in order to move freely on America, we need a whole bunch of papers, please.
I'll explain it one last time. There's just a simple vehicle stop, okay? I just asked for a driver's license, insurance, and registration because the tags on his plate expired for what, 4 years, 5 years? 2019. Hey, when I don't have this uniform on, I'm a lot different person. So, you know.
That's what concerns me, sir.
I get
That's
what you're
what
saying on
concerns me.
that. But my job is to enforce the law. So that's all. So
In early 2024, while driving down the
Yeah, I can't let that moment go. I can't, because it's so right there in one moment, emblematic. Hey, out of uniform, I'm like a Republicard and I'm for rights and freedom and principles. But in costume, I'm for upholding the law. But I don't know that the law is not the law. It's policy and code. So all we need to do is just make these folks aware, apparently, that what they're enforcing is not the law. It's policy and code, which is antithetical to the law at times. This is the point. Out of uniform, you guys are probably good men or want to be good men. In uniform, you'll do absurdity and atrocity, right? You'll believe in absurdity and do atrocity and then say, but I'm a great man out of uniform. That's not the point. The point is, if you're a good or great man and you stand for what's true and right out of uniform, you damn sure better do that in uniform. That's your duty and obligation. If you forsake that to be paid to enforce code, you are demonic. Especially when folks are letting you know there's dual jurisdiction here, underworld, overworld. There's private and public. There's natural person and legal person. We're not under the banner of that. So if you want to play that game, at least play it properly. They have to know the game first, which they don't. They're so caught up, they think policy and code is law. But outside of uniform, we're great Republicards. We vote for Donnie and we hope on rights and freedoms to come back while we take them in uniform. Fascinating logic. I will never get over this. It's like I've been doing this for decades and I still come on every day and get right back into the mode and get passionate. I can't believe what I'm witnessing. Just the violations of logic left and right, the cognitive dissonance ubiquitously. Every 2 out of 3 people you meet is living in complete cognitive dissonance. And then we'll smile and giggle and go, I'm a good person. I want to be good, but my job requires me to be bad and evil. So I do it. But if we would just meet outside of uniform, I'd be a great guy. I go, that's not how being a good person works. Do you guys not get that? You are who you are in anything you do and everything you do, and you're judged when nobody's watching, especially when everyone's watching. You got to live right when no one's watching. When everyone's watching, you damn sure better live right. It's bizarre logic. These people have never had a mommy and daddy, and they've never been raised right. That's the bottom fucking line.
on the road in Las Vegas near the intersection of Decatur and Flamingo Road. A man named Brian O'Shea was traveling in his personal vehicle. While peacefully going about his day, Mr. O'Shea was pulled over by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department for expired tags. As the officers approached his vehicle, Mr. O'Shea called into a live stream being broadcast on a channel called Paul Unslaved, also known as Proper Instruction Motivates People. During this interesting and unique traffic stop, Paul acted as counsel for Mr. O'Shea and began to interact with the officers about issues regarding what is legal, what is lawful, and issues of common law versus statutory law. Now, nothing in this video is to be construed as legal advice. There is and will always be great cost in accessing and operating as a free man in a land controlled by those who want to infringe on that freedom. As Voltaire said, it will always be dangerous to be right when the authorities in control are always so wrong. If you're going to live free, unfortunately, you'll likely suffer the unreasonable and unjust consequences of detaching from an empire built by the self-appointed masters who don't want you to release yourself from your chains.
I mean, of course, I think.
Hold on, Simon. Hold on, Simon.
Okay.
So driver's license, as far as my understanding goes, this is a piece of property that I'm operating.
Okay, so you're on a roadway. You need a driver's license, insurance, and registration. I need those now. Okay?
I mean, if
I don't need to talk to somebody else. I need to talk to a third
Yeah,
party.
Brian, he doesn't seem like he cares. He doesn't seem like he cares about rights, freedom, principles, and law of the land.
You're completely out of control.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I've asked you 3 times now. 3 times.
But you're not.
Have I not?
You're completely out of
Yeah,
control.
you asked, but the presumption is that he has to give it or you're going to do harm.
I'm not doing this with a third party.
You're doing it with
Yeah,
me.
well, you're
This
being
is
live
video.
streamed right now to thousands of people, so you are going to do it.
Your driver's license, registration, and insurance.
What makes you think that I need those things?
You have to have those. What makes you think you don't?
This is a piece of property that I'm operating. Okay, now I don't need any.
You're operating on a public roadway. You need those 3 items. Yep. And here's the problem: if you don't identify yourself, we're gonna have to take you to jail. So I'm trying just to go easy with you here, but you're kind of making it difficult.
Wow, he seems like a really nice guy. He's not disingenuous at all. I'm sure he's a really nice, caring, loving, freedom and rights-based guy. He's really faithful too, I bet.
Driver's license, insurance, registration, please.
Another tyrant.
All right.
All day, every day. Nothing but tyrants, huh?
You seem like a
Smile
real nice
for the
piece
camera,
of guy.
tyrant.
That's why you're doing it. Yeah, smile. What's your name?
Right there.
Your first name?
I don't need to give you my first name.
I know.
Oh, so he's got to identify, but you don't. Imagine the hypocrisy. You're a servant of the people, but you don't have to identify, but he does. The one you serve and protect. How fascinating.
Badge number, right
How
now.
fascinatingly hypocritical. Another
Badge number
tyrant, huh?
17299.
You've been drinking today, sir? You've been under the influence of any narcotics?
Driver's license, insurance,
You on any
registration.
steroids that might throw off your rhythm and your inner space? Yeah, my field experience leads me to believe that this man might be under the influence or something, or maybe just derelict in his duty.
You hear that?
What'd you say? I'm not talking to him. I'm talking to you.
Of
You're the
course
one
you're
that-
not talking to me. You guys are so fucked. Oh, I can't wait for the economic collapse and you guys lose all the benefits and privileges you've been sucking the devil's dick to get. And you're gonna be like a little hoe, right? Oh, I'm not talking to him. You guys are the same guys who, if we're at a party at a bar, you're like all angry and on steroids. And then like I'm talking and you're like, I'm not talking to him. You're gonna ignore me as much as possible till either you bond with me over the truth or you get really angry and put hands on me. You know, it's just what it's always been. You guys are just burning and seething with hate for yourselves. You know you're a fucking cowardly punk slave, and you're just going to ride with who you think the big guy is, right? Well, this is the system that's in charge, so we're going to become part of it and cuddle up to it and experience falsely empowered, codependent, false strength, right? It's just amazing, and they all look the same too. He looks and sounds exactly like Hard Hat, another tard who's like mind and heart controlled, who acts out on me because he can't handle the power and the inspiration and the light of truth. They can't handle the Holy Spirit. It's like an offense to the devilish. Because you're a coward.
Okay.
Because you're a liar and a coward. You know it and I know it.
I need a driver's license, registration, and insurance, please.
I agree with what he's saying.
I need a driver's license, registration, and insurance, please.
What
Are you
makes think I
asking or are
need
you
those?
demanding through coercion and duress?
I need a driver's
Are you
license.
Are you
asking or are you
passively
demanding?
aggressively demanding with coercion and duress, or are you asking, which can be refused?
Operate a vehicle on a public roadway.
Says who? Would you like to take that to federal court where it's already been dozens of times? Just imagine, like, I get flashes of images. Imagine this punk coward at his house on his beach chair, like on the weekends, with his fucking dead-eyed wife, and they just hate each other. They all just have dead eyes, dead, broken-hearted soul. And they just sit around on their off time on the weekends, chugging beer and acting like, yeah, we're Americans. You ready to go to the beach, honey? It's my day off. They beat her a little bit, put her in a headlock, beat the dog on the way out just to kind of feel powerful, you know? And then they're going to go out together, enjoy their time off together, and just sit there and wallow in their fascism and slavery they've created and just drink, take their pharmaceuticals, work out. Take the steroids, work out, just keep working out so you can keep ignoring the fucking reality you're building and creating or not. Right? You guys are so fucking embarrassing and pathetic. You're like sitcom characters. Like if I'm God, I make this whole planet one big fucking sitcom saga series show that I just get to observe, and you're like central casting loser failure embarrassment clown. Don't care how much muscles you have and how many Fords you got in the garage and how big your fucking home is. You're a loser, failure, punk, coward clown. And you all hate yourselves and everything that extends off of you. It's obvious. I see you out and about when I'm out. I'm out smoking good reefer, laughing and joking with Jennifer, traveling, looking for land, doing what the fuck we do, living life, actualizing and realizing. We come across you blue liners with all your new trucks and all your new fresh gear, and you look inside of you and you're broken and you hate yourselves and each other. You need more and more symbols of power and value because you're lacking that within. And then, like, when you find someone with true value and power and standards, it's an affront to you. It's an offense. Like, why don't you just live like the rest of us? Just do without everything that's real and true here metaphysically and stack up false symbols of power and value. What's wrong with you? They get offended when they meet someone who has actual self-respect and integrity and self-worth and value for truth. You guys are fucking beyond it. It's time. You don't understand what time it is. It's judgment time. You guys lose all your shit. The first will be last. The last will be first. That's why I'm experiencing immense blessings and grace and rewards and co-creation and resonation with other good people of what's true and what's right. And you folks are scrapping and scraping in debt, chasing, slaving away. You don't know when it ends. You're not even looking for the end because you know you're going to die while it exists and you're never going to do anything outside of it. You don't even think about when it ends because you know you're going to serve this till you fucking die and it's going to go on. You're not going to do anything different. And your fucking woman's never going to really love you or respect you. Your fucking children are never going to really love you and respect you. They fucking resent you because they know deep in their heart, and they even show it to you, that you're a punk fucking coward. And it doesn't matter where you take them and what you buy them. They don't really love you and respect you, nor should they, because you're trash. And that drives you even more crazy. So you act out on the women and children because you're desperate to get that validation and respect, and it never comes, nor should it. This shit's archetypal. That's why your women and children eventually find someone like me to resonate with, someone they can actually love and care for and experience truth with, and values and principles. That's the archetypal connection and bonding. You wouldn't know what the fuck that's like. That's why they all end up at family court getting the same fucking code used on them they've been enforcing and don't know how to navigate it, don't even care to know, because they're not men. They're fucking biological robots at this point. They're fallen.
Absolutely. He can do it anytime he wants. So
right. You just have no faith it's going to get done, right? But it's been done dozens of times before, and you people have been put on notice that the roads are for exclusive use of the people, okay? And you cannot license or right in the freedom to travel. It's the first page of the passport. You might want to get back on your duties and obligations as a servant of the people, protecting our rights, not depriving rights under color of law using statute and policy.
I need you to exit the vehicle if you're not going to identify yourself.
Identify myself?
Yep.
What's the crime he committed? Where's the victim? What's the crime he committed? Where's the victim?
Where's the injured party? Yeah, you need an injured party.
Nope.
There has to be an injured party.
Yeah, you're overthrowing the foundations of law here today. Proper process and procedure. There has to be a claimant on the charging instrument.
He can go to court. If he thinks I'm wrong, then he can go to court. No problem.
Right, and you'll show up and you'll be accountable. Where in your life have you ever shown up for yourself? This is how deep we are, where they're like, hey, we're going to deprive rights under color of law, but we know we're wrong. But hey, just settle it with the courts. And they have pretty good faith that they'll be able to pimp you at court and ask a few questions or get loud at you and get you off your square and capitulate. Right? So they're pretty confident in that. They know they're wrong. They know what the game is. They're trained to only see one piece of the legal process and what they think is the law. And they just completely willfully ignore the rest, knowing that court is where this shit's settled, where it's handled. That's how deep we are into this. None of the average citizen slaves understand law, nor do they feel like they need to. The court is where that's all handled. And they have pretty good faith. By the time you get to court, you're going to be so shook and fearful and so pimped out with the code and turning your pockets out at the door and submitting your natural rights that are constitutionally protected. They already got you reined in. That's what arraignment's for. They know how to pimp and mac. So they have good faith that they're going to get you. But they know they're wrong. They know the contract is fraudulent. They know this isn't law. That's why they're so reticent to actually go forward, many of them. He knows in his heart. You could tell by looking at him, even when he said it, if you're not going to identify, I need you to exit the vehicle. He doesn't even really believe in what he's doing. He just knows he has to do it to keep his fucking job. Like they all say, this is just a job. They know what they're doing. They can't even live with themselves. and others and actually been accountable in your relationships and your family at home. We know you're a coward who's derelict in all your duties. It's written all over you, sir. How do you feel about living at this time where you stand on the wrong side of history? You know you're creating your own demonic conditioning, right? Hey, did you take your treatments and cover your face? Did you take your treatments and cover your face? Are you ready to do it all over again? Because another one's coming. Are you ready for it? Slave, coward, servant of your demonic masters. Are you ready for it? You ready to destroy yourself and your whole family and the rest of this land? Another tyrant for a paycheck. Another coward who's not accountable to God or anyone else on this land. Pathetic.
Yes,
You're
sir.
a pathetic display.
What are we doing? We're doing like a three-way conversation. Is he like your attorney or something?
Counsel, sir. And you're being live streamed to thousands of viewers right now. So you better be on your best behavior. And you better observe your first duty and obligation to uphold the rights and protect man and woman.
Your driver here needs to have a driver's license.
He's not a driver. He's a free traveler. And he's not under contract with United States Corporation or its subsidiaries.
That's what it needs to have. It's not an argument. We are a self-identified state. He has expired registration, so he needs to provide those to be able to drive and operate a vehicle on a roadway. Or if you guys are going to
do you want to get into
he just needs
you're not interested in making the facts clear and presently known. You're going to deprive rights under color of law.
So this is what we need.
You don't just keep talking.
All you have to do.
Are you going to have a back and forth? Or are you just going to ramble?
No, he's not a human being. He's a robot. He's a matrix robot. Another collectivist, fascist, matrix robot.
He has nothing to do with this.
De-escalate. We're going to have a back and forth. Otherwise, you're
I just explained to you that I'm his counsel, sir. Did you not listen? You asked a question you didn't want the answer to.
And
I'm his next his counsel. Are you willing to interact with us peaceably? Are you willing to be co-creative?
You. We are having it.
Sir, are you under the influence of drugs or alcohol today?
You're the reason why we stopped.
You could stop talking, you know, and let us go.
That we need to talk to. I don't have to address to a third party.
You don't have to be accountable anywhere in your life, do you?
Me? Oh, I have a lot of accountability. I mean,
really?
I pay
Would
my
you like to get into the etymology of the word you just used?
My driver's license as well.
Right.
So
I'm sure. You seem like a really responsible, accountable, faithful man. I can really tell by your energy alone, let alone the words you just chose.
That's very nice right there.
Hands in the pocket, sir? Is that a defensive body language position because you're not strong in your position in truth right now? You're using false power and authority to get where you want to go?
I mean, hands in the pocket would be more of a lazy.
No, it's a defensive position because you know you're using coercion, duress, lies, and manipulations and false words and terms to get your way for profit right now. You're not sound in what you're saying and doing. You know it's not true and honorable. You know it's not the law of this land. And you know it's the bane of our existence. We're going to slavery and genocide. We're already there, dummy. When are you going to get real with yourself and the rest of us? When are we going to unite, sir? Do you realize we need to unite right now more than ever? Do you realize that?
I don't need to talk to you.
Okay. You don't need to talk to anyone in your life. I'm sure your wife has the same report of you, your children, your friends, your family. This is what you do everywhere in life, huh? Just bullshit yourself and everyone else and never take accountability for what we're all creating together or separately. It's pathetic. Do what you got to do, sir. Do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. Do what you're paid to do. Take rights under color of law and let's get on with it.
As long as he provides a driver's license, registration, and insurance.
He's not required to provide a servant of the people anything. The fact you believe he is why we're already in slavery and lost our rights and free choice.
I don't know what that has to do with anything other than...
I suspect you don't know much in life, sir, and I'd be willing to love you and care for you and work with you if you were also willing and able.
You what?
I said, I suspect you don't know much in life, but I'd be willing to love you and care for you and work with you and create a new outcome for all of us if you were willing and able.
All he has to do is provide the three things that we've been asking for.
All he has to do is do what you say, and then you're not going to take his rights and freedom and cause harm to them. You're such a nice guy. What do we owe you beyond the tax dollars? What else do we owe you for all your service here today and protection? You've been so kind and great.
Listen, that's all that needs to be.
Right. It's all it needs to be, a false choice. Do what you say or else. That's the bane of our existence in America. So continue with it. Continue with it and see where it gets all of us. I've already accepted my outcome in faith. So keep doing it and see where it gets all of us. You'll have to live it just like I will. I'm prepared. You're not.
Okay. I can't hear everything that you're saying right now, but
yeah, and you feel what I'm saying, more importantly, because we're one self on the highest level. And you know, I just spoke the fucking truth for all of us. The truth you won't live, that you run and lie about. You run from it and you lie about it. And you laugh and giggle because you know it's all over for you and the rest of us, huh, sir? The rights are gone, the freedom's gone, policy and code runs our lives, and you got a senilic retard up there as the president.
We have law-abiding citizens, and we have people that try to take shortcuts.
Statute, policy, and code is not the law, sir. That's why there's a legal society and a law society. They're mutually exclusive. You don't know the difference.
Fighting to the statutes.
I'm sure you are, and you're enforcing statutes on man and woman. Men and women are not part of corporations. We don't have to follow policy. You do. Enforce them on your buddies, not man and woman who you serve and protect.
It's all about law-abiding citizens.
You don't understand the difference between legal policy and the law of the land. You don't understand the difference. There's a clause in the Constitution, public safety clause. There's dual jurisdiction. Administrative law and constitutional law. One is corporately defined. One is the law of the land under God. You probably wouldn't know it because you're not a godly, faithful man. You probably don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about because you've never lived it. You were born into slavery and indoctrination. You're a child of the lie and a servant of the devil. Let's be real about it. Who'd you vote for to be your daddy? Who you voting for this year to be your daddy? Another egoic narcissist or a senilic retard? Which one? Pick one. More corruption, huh? More circus freak show like experience for all of us. Yeah, it's funny. Let's get a laugh at it. The world we live in. It's a big circus joke freak show at this point, huh?
Is that a yes or a no?
We're waiting for the sergeant anyway.
All right, we'll wait for the sergeant.
Believe it or not, sir, this is the way I show love and care. It's tough love and tough care, right? But it's for all of our own good. We need it now more than ever. We're losing it all, sir. Whether you want to accept it or not.
Shouldn't be too much longer. Had to come from a little ways away.
I appreciate you putting up with my loud voice and obnoxious presentment, and I appreciate you listening to the facts I'm presenting.
Just one last time before my sergeant gets here. Are you going to provide any of that information I asked for?
I'd rather speak to the sergeant.
Okay, no problem. No problem. So at the moment, then, no, you're just waiting for the sergeant.
I'm waiting for the sergeant. Okay. No loss, injury, or harm in this situation. There's no injured party if you go to court. There's no person that I've injured or harmed. I've caused no loss, injury, or harm anyone. So what's going on right now is just wrong. Like, if you can't feel that in your gut, in your spirituality, and understand that,
feel what in my gut?
That there's no injured party. So when we go to court, as you mentioned, there's no injured party that's going to show up. So this doesn't make sense.
I guarantee the judge in traffic court will not worry about that.
Yeah, but what about you as a man? Do you have a conscience right now that you pulled over another man operating his property and there's no loss, no injured party?
I have my own personal vehicle, correct?
I don't know.
I do have my own personal vehicle. I have to have insurance, registration, and a valid driver's license. Where do you think you do not have to have those?
What makes you think you need to have those?
Okay. We're just going around and around. You can talk to my sergeant.
Not really. If you can't provide a reason why you think you need those, because you haven't thought about it.
We're just going around and around.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse, sir. This has been ruled on over and over again. Just because you presume what you've been told or shown is the absolute truth does not mean it is. To presume that he has to follow what you don't know is ridiculous. Again, the whole point of the Constitution and the whole point of the law of the land is to protect people's right to freedom of movement. If we can't move freely and we can't speak freely, then we're not free. We're enslaved. There's no other way to see it.
Now they're closing in on the vehicles now. Like they're worried I'm going to escape or something.
Listen, Brian, at the end of the day, all we can do is have a conversation from a common sense perspective and the facts of the matter about the foundations of law. At the end of the day, they're going to do as they believe to be what their duty is, whether they're correct or not. So at the end of the day, you got to surrender in faith that these men are going to ascertain the facts of the matter and uphold the spirit of the law and understand the difference between the spirit of the law and the letter of the statute, policy, and code, right? Which oftentimes is our discrepancy. These beings have discretion. They can do whatever they please if they deem you to not be a direct threat, causing loss, injury, and harm to the public. So again, if we want to enforce policy, which at this point is illegitimate, it's been ruled on, they can go ahead and do that, right? You're not interfering with their job as they see it. We're just trying to get everybody right to be accountable to the same standards of what the law of the land is supposed to be on a free land.
When and if your client goes to court, then he'll be able to say all that, and there should be no issue the way you're trying to sound. So
I understand that, sir, but what you need to understand is after the court day comes and the dismissal happens, you are then subject to have to compensate for deprivation of rights under color of law, right? So again, I'm not necessarily saying that that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying that honestly, as we know, the court system is there to air grievance. It's a grievous event when we have code enforcement depriving rights, freedom of movement, for some belief of public safety, when there is nobody on the other side claiming anything. This is absolute fraud. It's illegitimate. You should know it because I do know it. See, you're a man first and foremost outside of that uniform. So your discretion is going to be what's going to be looked at, right? And just simply saying, well, we have a belief and we've been trained isn't good enough.
Hi, Officer Messina, Las Vegas Metro.
How are you, sir?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
Well, we're blessed. I think your radio's going off there. We're blessed. I think that we'd be doing a little bit better if the rights of the land were upheld, freedom of movement as such.
All right. Anything else?
Oh, that's pretty much it. I mean, you know, we didn't contact you. We're not in need of your service or protection at this time. But there's some beliefs and some claims that are being made that in order to move freely on America, we need a whole bunch of papers, please.
So you said it,
this is part of the.
No, smile face. You said it, right? I'm just trying to get a rise. That's what this is all about. It's me trying to get a rise. That's all it is. Not willing to go to jail for what's true. You think I want to go to jail when there's no loss, injury, or harm? Smiley faces. I don't know. Smiley
Yeah, we're all just doing this for clicks and views. We're all just doing this because it's fun. We're not doing it because it's fucking true and it's right. And after this, there's nowhere to go with it. I mean, you guys were here for the last 4 years. You know what fascism looks like. You know what tyranny looks like. You know what one world order looks like. So where are we going with this, gentlemen?
I do.
It's really going to come down to like man to man, you know, uniform
Okay, so
side.
Okay, I'll explain it one last time. It was just a simple vehicle stop, okay? I just asked for a driver's license, insurance, and registration because the tags on his plate expired for what, 4 years, 5 years? 2019. That's all. That's why we
I get that, sir. And he's had multiple interactions since where we've ascertained that we have a freedom and a right to move freely without having impositions imposed upon us, right? Many of which could be a detriment to his livelihood, okay? Because he's on a different path right now with his life. He's an aspiring comedian. He's living in that car. That car is essentially his domicile at this time. So we could argue he has domestic authority to move that property as he sees fit until he is a direct threat to the rest of the public, which I don't believe we have a valid claimant who's stating such. So I appreciate your efforts. I understand why. Yeah, like just common sense and common law goes right out the window. He just said, he testified on record, the expiration's been 5 years. So the car's been expired for 5 years, yet Mr. O'Shea has moved around freely and not caused any issues to anybody. He's not been a threat to the public or their safety. So why exactly are we continuing to enforce this letter of the code rather than the spirit of the law, which is to uphold rights and keep people safe? Nobody's been threatened. He has a 5-year pattern in history, regardless of the paperwork that you all believe we need to move around, like we're in Nazi Germany. It's not caused any loss, injury, and harm, and there's no threat to the safety of the public. What are we doing here exactly if it's not about rights or public safety? What are we doing? Right, we're doing complete fascism, authoritarianism, and submit, cooperate, comply, or else. Because that's where we're at in this. And historically from here, it goes to civil fucking war. Just like it's gone to World War. Again. Who could have seen all this coming, huh? Why he would be stopped and be contacted. But again, we now have officer discretion, just as the many other officers have, to let him continue on freely until we have a report from the citizenry that he's up to no good. And I believe that that is equitable. I believe that's common sense. And I'm not encouraging anyone to not keep an eye on him while he's in your town or on your land, so to speak, if that's what you feel necessary.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I get what you're saying. My sergeant should be here any minute. And then either you or your client, who I still don't know his name, he can explain it to my sergeant and see where that goes.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Yep.
While we're waiting for the
I think my partner explained it sufficiently, so we're just going to wait for our supervisor to get here, and we're going to take it from here. And if there's anything I can do for you, we're right here on Decatur and Flamingo.
Thank you. And that's the thing. This is the thing I've always had an issue with my father with, because he'll say, so-and-so's a nice guy. He's a good guy. Maybe so. Maybe these guys are nice guys and good guys. They're not great. And all you Republicards who want to talk about, we support Donnie because we want to make America great again. You're going to have to become great. You know what great means? It means putting your fucking costume and your ideology and false beliefs aside to do what in your heart you fucking come to know is true and what's right. That's called greatness. And it's called, you might have to suffer at times and deal with consequences and sacrifice. You may have to give some shit up and do without in order to do what's true and what's right. That's called fucking greatness. So I'm not interested in the nice guys and the good guys who are willing to do evil because, hey, it's just business as usual. No, doesn't work for me. Doesn't work for the God of creation either, I suspect. Can't prove it. Sir, you seem to have a good humor about you. You seem to have a pretty peaceful and positive countenance. So I appreciate you being patient with us and seeing where this all goes, right? We mean no harm, right?
No, I appreciate your kind words. That's actually very nice of you. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good, if nothing else, to see a man, if he's going to be in uniform, to at least have a smile on his face, you know, have some light in his eyes and see the humor in all of this that we call life, right? The day-to-day grind, so to speak.
Hey, you're right.
Yeah, it's an absolute freak show circus. But yeah, I think we're good to go, man. I appreciate you listening and being available and being patient, right? I know this is a rather unorthodox, maybe unconventional interaction.
Oh, yeah, we don't get too many of these, but hey, we appreciate your ability to stay calm and keep your...
We don't get... I'm sorry, man. If you're watching this, what are the odds that this cop's watching this? You never know. But it's like, yeah, we don't get too much of this rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, true values thing. We don't really get too much of this. I'm sure you don't. All you get is submit, cooperate, comply, because the majority of the citizenry is a bunch of broken hoes and childlike entities. Can't manage their own thoughts, emotions, actions, records, and affairs. Sure, you don't get a lot of this. My friends and family don't get a lot of this either. That's why they don't want to deal with me anymore. It's just a lot easier to keep your fucking head down and be an inauthentic corporate male and female and go along to get along. Paulie's crazy. You don't get too much of this. Maybe that's the problem.
That. So I'm pretty satisfied this will have a satisfactory outcome for all involved.
All right. Appreciate you, sir.
All right.
Yeah, he's fairly sure it's going to have a satisfactory outcome for us all. Oh, it absolutely did. We got everything we needed. You took his fucking rights under color of law. You all smiled and giggled. You know what the fuck I'm saying is true. And you had a healthy dose of ignorance and arrogance to get past it. And you did what you always do. Yeah, it was a satisfactory outcome for everybody. You put yourselves all on record to be judged. I love it. I can't get enough of this fucking simulation B system game at this point. I think it's great. Blessings. All right, Brian, you're pretty much going to have to just stay in a faithful space. I mean, I wasn't as calm as I could be, like he said. I mean, we know I have a passion for the truth, and I'm trying to incite or compel these folks, rather, to do what in their heart they know is true and what's right, and to use some common sense and a common ethic and observe the common law. So at this point, you're pretty much going to have to let them make their decision on how they want to go forward, you know, and see where this goes, right?
Right. I appreciate it, man.
Listen, there's nothing I really can do for you. I'm speaking on the truth as I see it. If it works in our favor, then, you know, that we'll let it be that, right? But ultimately, the truth is the truth. What's right is what's right. And what we all think and feel about it really doesn't much matter at this point.
I almost want to ask them, like, you know, is there anything they even disagreed with that you said, you know, is there anything?
No, they agree with everything I'm saying. They know what I'm saying is true and it's right. They think they have a job and they've been trained to do certain things. And that's where the disconnect happens. Man to man, you've seen it with me and Valdez and others, right? We all know what's up right now.
I think he's here. I think that's his car. Yeah, that's our sergeant.
Oh, Daddy's here.
How many
Daddy.
police officers are there?
Looks like it
Seen
was
3 or 4.
Daddy's here. And then this is where it gets really emblematic and iconic and also ironic, because now here's where the most effeminate beta male out of everyone shows up. And of course, he's highest in rank and position, the Poindexter with the glasses and the effeminate, beta male affect and the little flip hairdo. He's arrived. Daddy's here. Sarge is here. How do you guys sleep at night? Your daddy's an effeminate beta male who then ordered you to put hands on someone. They use the effeminate beta males like they did in the Nazi Empire to give all the orders at the top, right? And then they use all the dumb, steroided out, ignorant, arrogant, half slave, half man, the mankind creatures, right? The kind of like man. They use all them as the grunts to do the grunt work that the beta male can't do without breaking a nail. You guys are so embarrassing and pathetic. This is literally the embodiment of the Spartan 300s versus the Xerxes character, who on record was a homosexual with a homosexual empire. And again, I'm not demeaning homosexuality or bisexuality or any of that. I'm just saying it's kind of emblematic that even in the movie, if you go to the history, the movie was made like that for a reason. Xerxes was a beta male, effeminate character, dripped in accessories and jewels, just like his mama, and had hundreds of thousands of effeminate male sort of like grunt, workers, slaves, inauthentic corporate males. I'm sure many of them grunted up and steroided just to kind of carry out all the intoxicating corruption that they can't do on their own. Like none of them could do anything in life on their own, but when they combine their forces into a mega slave creature, they can get so much done. Like Rahm Emanuel used to say, we're going to get so much done, as he's flitting around and then giving orders down to all the low level, inauthentic corporate beta male grunts on steroids to carry it out. You guys are so fucking embarrassing and pathetic, and it's iconic and emblematic throughout history. We are literally the Spartan 300 minority, and you folks are literally the millions of the inauthentic corporate beta male, effeminate / steroided out slaves who are just completely intoxicated in your own false worldly power. And you're not going to rest till you stamp out that last 300 who stand for something true and righteous here. You're not going to stop. Has to be done so you can get your validation from your devil daddy, from your false self, right? So you can rebuke higher self and ultimate truth. So you can just testify once and for all. God is dead. We're in control. We got it going on. You're pure Luciferian archetype through and through. You wonder why the biblical scriptures have been the greatest story ever told? Because everything in there is playing out, no matter what time of history and what land you look at. Same fucking simulation playing out. It's uncanny.
Yeah.
I'll help you out. 1, 2, 3, 4 and a sergeant.
That's a lot.
That's all.
It's a good opportunity for them to learn.
They did like that Biden Trump line though. They were cracking up about that.
What part?
Biden Trump, where he was saying that you got a senile. One guy was senile, the other one.
I did hear. I'll do this now.
I mean, stop me where I'm wrong. I know I got a little bit animated, but stop me where I'm wrong, right?
Hey, when I don't have this uniform on, I'm a lot different person. So,
That's what concerns me, sir. That's what concerns me.
But my job is to enforce the law. So that's all. So my sergeant should be up here any second. So.
You have to know the law to enforce it. Despite the resistance that we meet, I believe these men know what's true and correct. I just don't believe they're ready to stand out on it. So they know that what we're doing is true and correct and for their own good, right? This is not against anybody. This is what we need more of as Americans. So I know they can feel it in their heart. I can tell by their body language and the rest of it, because we're all oneself, man. This is what's being revealed at this time through all these experiences. We're all oneself and we all know one truth. Now we have to live up to it, or we're going to catch a judgment and an outcome we ain't ready for. You're on the right side of history. That's all you got to remember. When you're on the right side of history, That's what you have faith in. You surrender the rest. There's nothing else we could do, man. I really have love for myself and all of these officers as men and for the truth that we're all here to experience.
He enjoyed that joke too.
I think we both looked at each other and smiled.
The sad part is it's not a joke. It's the reality we're living.
Hi, what's your name? Brian? Sergeant Mario, I'm with Metro Police Supervisor, okay? What's going on?
I was pulled over. They asked for license, insurance, and registration. I applied that operating a piece of property, and no loss, injury, or harm in any situation. I was told that I might need to go to court. I was puzzled because if I go to court and there's no injured party, then this situation doesn't seem to make very much sense to me.
Okay. Do you have the keys to the car? Where's the keys at? Can you take them out for me? Just so I can feel a little more comfortable that you're not going to do anything irrational.
Yeah, he's not going to leave, sir. I can assure you he's not going anywhere.
He's not going to take off.
We would just rather not comply with any unlawful orders, whether it's a legal order or not. Right? So I don't think he's required to take the keys out. I understand why you might feel a bit uncomfortable. Ooh, look at the body language of Xerxes the Great. He's stroking himself and self-soothing because he's preparing to make a decision on leadership. You guys are like, do you understand you could put me under the prison and it's never going to change how much of a fucking joke you are? Nothing's going to change it. You could kill me now. I could self-immolate on this broadcast. Best content ever. I'm just going to light myself on fire. You could put me under the prison and it's never going to change the walking, iconic, emblematic, historical joke that you folks are as a beingness. He's preparing to make a decision on someone else's life, Xerxes the Great. I love it. We're living a movie, people. There's no denying it. It's a rather look at the face. That was a perfect shot. Look at the mug on this clown. Right? This is who runs your life in this country, this corporation that you think is a country and a land at this point. This is the iconic, emblematic face of just the soft, doughy, pudgy, inflamed face of tyranny and just inauthentic corporate male beta energy. Just completely swollen body parts, just inflamed by the toxic water and food and chemtrails in the sky, just completely broken and dead-eyed, Poindexter baited out. If they're not roided out and like bloodlusting from toxic masculinity, like that's going away. The new tyranny is toxic, feminine, inauthentic corporate beta males who are going to use paperwork and dictation. Make sure I say that. Enunciate so you don't think I said something else. I said dictation, right? They're going to use their papers and their dictation, and they're going to use their like nice, kind, polite affect to just take everyone's soul by consent. Or else you will submit, cooperate, and comply. Orthodox interaction.
Who am I speaking with over the phone?
I'm his counsel, sir. Next friend. Who am I speaking with?
Okay.
Sound kind of like a man.
Here's the bottom line. They pulled you over for a lawful reason in the state of Nevada. Okay, your registration expired. I know
he just did it. He just did the move they all do. That's the money shot, right? Like a porn star. He just did the whole, you sound like a man. Who is this? And then when he realized what was going on, he did the whole spread your legs apart routine. You ever see him do that one? Where they get a real wide stance and they assume the position? That's like the money shot in porno. You know, I'm a real man. Let me widen my gait here. Let me widen my stance. Like I got some genitals between my legs. Hold on. This is where I take an exaggeratedly wide stance to act like I got huge genitals between my legs, even though I'm a prickless coward. Excuse me. It's a family broadcast. There I go again. That's why I'm unpopular. That's why they say he's uncivilized. This is why they need to put a stop to my bad behavior and my free and unpopular speech. That's unsafe and triggering. Of course, that's not true. That man is very well endowed. Very manly, very masculine, very well endowed. He had to like take a wide stance to give himself a break.
Or
letting it all hang.
What, lawful or not, but
lawful or not, we don't care. Enforcing code and policy.
For the registration was being expired. So.
And Brian O'Shea, this is why I told you, Brian O'Shea, not to display that expired plate. Because you're trying to fence ride and walk between two worlds again, like they all do. I told you, even if it puts a target on you, you don't see me rocking expired plates. Because then he's going to be forced to say what he just said there. Lawful or not, we got a legal obligation here because you're displaying the plates in the property of the state of. You're like claiming indirectly that you're in commerce. You got to pick a side, Mr. O'Shea. This is what I've told you. So if you're going to display their instruments and you're going to display them expired, they're going to keep making presumptions and assumptions that you should be following the obligations of that code. And when you get to court, you can flesh it out with them. Oh, it was a misunderstanding. Yeah, I was going to get it changed over. I didn't get it yet. I just kept it on there. I informed them that I wasn't operating in that capacity. They didn't care. They made more presumptions and assumptions that I was. So from here on out, I won't display your instruments and give you the wrong idea about who and what I am and what I'm doing. You see, you got to take some accountability and responsibility there, champ. Because they were going to do that anyway. I don't care what fucking plate. Maybe you got like one or two options that might be fairly bulletproof, but even that, I'm not going to claim that. You got to presume you take their instruments off and put anything else back there or nothing. They're going to stop you anyway. They're probably going to charge you at some point. They did it with me. You're probably going to have to present at court and then go from there, or do administrative process and never show up at the court and handle the contracts through the mail and with proper process and procedure administratively, with the paperwork, with claims, with substantiation of those claims, with conditional acceptance, so this is just kind of the reality of where we're at here. We're walking in two worlds and more each day. The underworld is becoming the world in reality for the majority of the participants in this simulation, it would seem.
That you do have to provide your driver's license, registration, and insurance. Are you going to do that?
In my opinion, it's not necessary because there's been no crime committed.
Okay, I know that's how you're feeling, but that's
been ruled on, sir. Right? Just to be fair, that's been ruled on Supreme Court many times. That you cannot impose license, registration, or insurance on a free traveler. Furthermore, that car has become his domicile at this time. He's an aspiring comedian, and he lives in that car. Okay. So we're riding the line between causing loss, injury, and harm for the presumption of creating safety when there's nobody potentially being threatened at this time by his freedom of movement, right? So this is a rights issue.
So that's why when you say it's a lawful pullover, I think the word you mean is it's a legal pullover. It's not lawful.
Here's what I don't want to happen. In the end of this, okay, you're gonna have to come out, okay? And I don't want to, force you out, have to use force and all that stuff. I just want you to comply, okay? Are you going to eventually comply at the end of this?
If I don't comply, you just heard me say that I live in this guy, right? Mm-hmm. And that word comply. So you're gonna potentially cause me like major loss, injury, and harm in a situation.
Well, are you worried about the car being towed or something like that?
Dude, everything I have is in here.
Well, I'll be honest, like from the get-go, that doesn't necessarily mean they were going to tow it. You may have just gotten a simple traffic citation for the expired registration and been on your way.
Well, that's fine, sir. I mean, he's had multiple interactions so far. If you guys want to cite the quote-unquote vehicle, I'm not using that term, but that's the term you folks use. That's his property. That's private property. You could argue it's trust property. So if you folks want to cite that vehicle in quotes as you consider it, nobody's stopping you from filling out the paperwork and putting it on the windshield and then going about your day.
I need his identification, though. Do you have a driver's license?
He's not required to identify if he hasn't committed a crime, and there's no reason to believe he's committing a crime. Traffic code is not a criminal infraction. So you can go ahead and put the proper paperwork as you see fit if you want to write up the charges. Obviously, you have. Yeah, this is where they pretend like he hasn't been stopped in this area 10 fucking times and that they don't have his picture pulled up on their computer and they don't know his quote unquote first and last name, which is actually his given and family name that they call the first and last name. They're all pretending and playing this game, and it's passive aggressive and it's robotic and it's monotonous. You know who he is. You know his name is Brian O'Shea. You have his fucking picture there and it's tied to that car. And you've cited him in the past. Why does he have to produce? And this is where then I ask the question and answer it because it's rhetorical. Why does he have to produce an identification every single stop? Because every single stop is contractual and you have to submit and consent and volunteer. And if you don't identify as something other than a man, they can't get jurisdiction over you. The problem is they're using coercion and duress and saying we're going to arrest you if you don't identify as something other than a man. Because you guys have his identification information, his pedigree information, as you all call it. It's in the system. Soon as you scan his plate, it's pulled up. There's a picture. You know all of it already. Why do you need an identification every single stop? Because whether you all know it or not, that's what the court and the prosecutor needs to get jurisdiction in order to move forward those charges legitimately. But you folks are known for moving shit forward illegitimately. So who even really gives a fuck, right? You know, stop me where I'm wrong here and this is not making sense. I know that everyone thinks there's some mystical process that like no one's aware of. A lot of this is common sense. This is a contract. Here's a piece of paper. We're going to ask you to sign this. You're going to get charged. Your person's going to get charged like a card, like a bill. You're going to get charged and you're going to have to go to court to decide who's going to pay because the bench is Latin for bank. So this is all about banking because it's corporate administrative courting and intercourse. It's business related. So this is not criminal. There's no loss, injury, and harm. That's the foundation of law. It's all on the books and on the record. If there's no loss, injury, and harm, then this is a code infraction, in which case all of his identifiers and his pedigree information is in your system. You, whether you know it or not, need to have him produce every single time evidence of the contract that allows him to be in your jurisdiction. So when he does not wish to produce that, you are supposed to write up the paperwork with your beliefs, hand it to him, give him an option to sign. If not, he's free to not sign it. He doesn't have to sign. That's UCC 1308, which has been deemed law for every state within the union. He has the freedom to contract as he pleases, which means he does not have to sign anything. And you can't use coercion and duress to get him to. He's free to remain silent. So at best, you can write up that paperwork, serve it to him. He doesn't want to sign. That's fine. It's not an admission of guilt. It's a promise to appear. But that's the problem is we're free to contract. We're free to stay or free to leave. And we don't have to submit to their illegitimate authority. So when you don't sign it, they don't get the contractual obligations. They don't get the contract in the jurisdiction because you never agreed that you're going to present in their venue and argue over code in a commercial venue. It's all about contracting and jurisdiction, and all of it's become illegitimate because they're attempting to force contract on the side of the road using their training and not understanding the laws of equity and the foundations of law on this land. It's beyond absurd and tyrannical and treasonous. And part of the problem is because the majority of the citizen slaves, like Mr. DeCastro and others, keep playing into legal society, legal policy and code, hiring attorneys to speak for themselves and not correcting their status on the record. We're so deep into this now, you could correct the status on record and revert back to a privileged class federally, protected class federally rather than a privileged class, which would be known as American National, among other things. And still locally and statewide, they're not going to uphold your rights. They're going to presume that everyone has to follow code. You're probably going to have to sue them at federal court in order to get resolution and remedy. The local administrative courts will probably dismiss a lot of these cases, as they have with folks who come here and testified to that fact, because they know what I'm saying is true. They're never going to put it on record. They're just going to toss you and dismiss it if they perceive that you understand who and what you are and what you're not, and that you have natural rights and you're not here to be a surety for that legal fictitious entity, the all caps personage. They can call it whatever they want. They can act out at court. Oh, it's sob sit mumbo jumbo. No, they know what the fuck I'm saying is true. They know it's codified in U.S. code. They know that federally they're all under indictment. The fact that nothing happens is because most people don't activate them and know how to use the proper process and procedure. So there's never any accountability. States have a right to govern themselves. So the people have a right to govern themselves. If a state of is a corporate entity, whether it's governance or not, if the servants of the people have a right to govern themselves, do the people have a right to govern themselves? Stop me where this is a violation of logic and law and common sense. It's completely gotten out of hand, right? And again, this is just through common practice, common core education, where folks generation after generation have been misled and now have woken up in democracy, communism, collectivism. Even the folks who call themselves conservatives and Republicans don't understand seemingly or want to tell the rest of us about natural persons and natural rights versus legal persons and the legal society and the duty and obligations to follow codes, policies, and statutes, which are only given the force of the law through the consent of the governed. We've been duped, folks. There's a corporate takeover afoot. There's a Cold War happening. There's a British corporation that is on this land that is a foreign corporation incorporated on Maryland that has created state of legal corporate entities and had us all insert ourselves into their artificial overlay reality contractually so they could use democracy and corporations and corporate policy to subvert our natural rights. Do you not get that? They've done it over and over again on every land. This is why they say they have special agreements with various nations, because they send in the corporations. We've gone over this before, Coca-Cola, Chiquita Banana. They send in their corporations. They establish themselves in a corporate capacity, and then they use propaganda and media and ad campaigns in order to indoctrinate over time the people to buy into a system that is to their own individual and collective detriment. I'm sorry that it's shocking that you think this is conspiracy theory, but this is how the world has always fucking worked. Your boy John Kennedy got his head blown off a week after he said, we have folks who've taken over on this land that are doing guerrilla warfare by night instead of armies by day. They're doing subversion campaigns. They're operating off of covert means to overthrow nations, including the one that we're on. They whacked them at high noon and gave you a conspiracy theory as actual history. We know what the real history of that was. He was one who went bad. He was one that got away. He was part of the intergenerational banking families of profiteers and corrupt folks. And he decided to do what was true and what's right. That's the story as it goes from behind the scenes. And when he started to reveal to the people how everybody was being duped and taken over through corporations and covert allies, he was whacked at high noon, and they told you some moron did it, and then he was killed, and we know the rest. This is just how easily the public is duped and confused and left into chaos. They just can't understand how it all works. It's too big for them to conceive. And then once they conceive of how big it is and how long it's been here, it makes them just feel so small, oh ye of little faith, because you don't understand you're connected to something above and beyond that's eternal. If you understood that, you'd realize how small and insignificant these people in and of the world are and always have been. It's because of their fear and lack of connection to God and lack of truth and inspiration and true power that they have to co-opt and corrupt and deceive and mislead all the rest of God's people into their overlay, artificial intelligent game of statute, policy, and code, because they know we don't really need them. They know we're more powerful without them. They know if we ever come to know the eternal truth that we will not be involved with them. That makes them the loser, failure, powerless, resourceless outcast because they don't do anything or create anything. The devil never does. It only seeks to corrupt and co-opt what God's people can do and create. And that's where it's mastered this art of non-living, is by getting all the folks who have a conscience, who have discernment, potentially, who have a Holy Spirit, to buy into and opt into their structures and systems so they can use you for what they can't do on their own. When are you going to come out? The Christed being asked you 2,000 years ago, come out of her, my people. And you're still deeply entrenched with the Babylonian archetype of the Jezebel harlot, toxic feminine safety system of corporate fascism. It hasn't changed since Nazi Germany and even way before that. They use the same lingo, Department of Homeland Security. It's for your safety. You got to follow the policies and codes, papers, please. And then Stavely will hate on me for doing something different on the ground to embody law and rights when he and the rest, pretty much for the most part, are just going to go along with it and act like it's sensationalism. Oh, the camps don't exist. FEMA camps are not a reality. Holocaust is not a reality. You dumb slaves are the same motherfuckers on every land who said the same shit before they came in and completely went through with it. And you're doing it after 4 years of complete lockdown, prison-like treatment from your supposed servants and being deemed non-essential because you don't understand how the devil works and spelling and sorcery works. When they called you non-essential and you accepted it, you rebuked the essence. You blasphemed the essence of who and what we are under creation. So you went along with it and agreed. Now they're going to go to the next step. They told you that you lack the connection with God and creation. You're non-essential. You have no human essence. You all followed it and accepted it and believed it, proving what you subconsciously believe about yourselves and God and the truth. And now the judgment's going to come in. There's a function and form for the devil to get God's people on record about how they rebuke God and going along with the ways of the world and man's code and policy and statute. You like it, I love it. Your thoughts, Mr. O'Shea? I'm doing a lot of talking. What else is new? It's kind of become my position here.
No, I like it, man. I'm just getting scared about taking the plates off because I'm like,
there you go. Fear and faith. That's all that this thing wants from us. You're going to get put on record. How do you live? What drives all your decisions? Fear or faith? Fear or faith. I know it. It's the walk that I walk. I'm not saying it's easy. Never said I may make it look easy at times, but it's far from easy internally. I have fear just like anyone else. I know what they could do to me. I've watched them do it to others. Ultimately, what's the option? If you could give me a better understanding and a better option of how this spiritual faith versus fear dynamic works, living in truth versus living a lie, because you're going to be guaranteed some safety if you just go along to get along, I think it's an illusion. I think it's a deception. I think that it's a spiritual indictment. I think it's the greatest fucking simulation test matrix ever. That's just me. I might be schizophrenic and crazy. We might just be on a random rock floating in space that has no actual inherent law or order. It's all just chaotic randomness. We get to choose. We get to make it all up. I don't know.
yeah, it's like, oh, I want to wait till I get back to Mesquite to take them off. Because I know they don't care out there, but
either way, you're getting charged. So, I mean, you could argue that they'll probably not tow the car, but they did last time anyway. So, you know, there's no rhyme or reason to this shit beyond what you can understand for yourself and then apply and surrender to. You know, you got to surrender to something. You got to serve a master one way or the other. So either you're going to surrender to statute, policy, and code out of fear, or you're going to do what's true and what's right and live under God's law out of faith. Whatever's going to happen in between is not for you to choose. That's the whole point of faith. We walk by faith, not by sight. Most folks in and of the world walk by sight, not by faith. And as soon as they get afraid and they see something coming, they go the other way, back to their false sense of security and safety. And it rolls on and gets a little bit worse and encroaches a little bit more. But as long as you don't admit to it and you don't really see it and you keep going on with your job and going to Walmart and you lock down when you're told to and you vote for your master daddy to loot the coffers and put you deeper into debt in a debt-based, non-backed, false monetary system, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Just kind of surrender and submit, you know, just kind of cooperate and comply. Just kind of give your soul choice and power over to a bunch of deceivers and corrupt misleaders. It'll get better. Of course, it'll get better inherently, eventually. It's called revolution, which means complete circle. I'm not necessarily talking physical war, although it is apropos. Right? Of course, it'll get better. Once it gets really bad, and there's no other alternative but to admit how fucked up and bad it is constantly, then it'll get better because people will finally just go, you know what? Let's stop all this. Let's stop justifying, making excuses, stop going along to get along. Let's actually wake the fuck up and do and be who and what we're meant to do and be. First, you got to have like really dark ages and rock bottoms. I would know. It was called heroin and drug addiction for me. For the rest of these folks, most of them, if they're not addicted to drugs or toxins or whatever else, which is a big if, their addiction is to bondage, vice, and slavery more directly. They can't live without it at this point. They wouldn't know what to do without government officials and signs and policy and code and big corporations to fulfill their every whim and wish while they fuck them, right? They wouldn't know what to do. So that's the addiction. That's the bondage. That's the vice. Not doing for yourself and outsourcing all of your powers, abilities, talents, products, and services to other corporate and authentic male clowns. Get what you give. I guess the more people get back on the land and start trading in actual lawful money, gold and silver, and start like being self-sufficient and self-sustainable, having their plants and animals, right? I guess the more that you'll start to see a change in the culture and the society and what we deem individually and collectively to be true and valuable.
The new normal.
Right, the new normal. Got two choices every time. The new normal is old normal, whether it's feudalism, genocide, slavery, and tyranny, or whether it's a new old normal of this far and no further. We're done. We're going off our own way and we're creating our own things. We don't need you. And we're not submitting and cooperating and complying if you come to get us. That's what a free man is. We're not belligerent and combative. We're not looking to overthrow. We're looking to prosper under the laws of God. So we embody that, live that, create that with other beings who are doing that, and we surrender the rest. We don't have to fight them in order to not cooperate and submit and comply. It's about speaking the truth, putting it on record, and then they're going to do what they're going to do in and of the world. Blessed are those who are persecuted and prosecuted, put into a cell or killed. There's no other way to see it, because the alternative is submitting to their daddy, the devil, and that archetype, and accepting less for ourselves and destroying ourselves and each other. There's really no choice here. The choice is, are you going to embody faith or fear? Either way, we're going to have to experience the trials and tribulations of the world that have always been the same from the beginning of time. What makes these folks so entitled to think they're not going to have to see genocide, slavery, warfare, famine, economic collapse? What entitlement complex is the average slave living in exactly? Where all of your ancestors had to live this and go through it, but you're going to be exempt somehow. Give me a fucking break. They need it more than ever. These folks in the modern day need the wages of this world and what it creates and does here as a result of what they create and do here. It needs it now more than ever in the modern day. Folks need discipline. They need lessons. They need the harsh truth and reality to be put in their fucking face. Everything is as it's meant to be, man. I'm not fear porning either when I talk about all the variables of history and creation. I'm not doing it necessarily from a sense of fear. You could argue there's a healthy fear there, a fear of God and not doing what's true and what's right, and how we're all going to be fucked if we don't. That's a healthy fear. Ultimately, it's like, dude, we've been doing this from the beginning of time. We've been incarnating over and over again, I suspect. Just one big fucking wheel, loop within a loop, whether it's historically or karmically, as far as energetically. You can't actually destroy us and who and what we are beyond this body. That's the key. That's the trick. That's the hack. The same thing they taught people in the movie The Matrix and other movies. They give you the game. They let you know, hey, bro, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. I'll steal a line from Jay-Z, right? The problem is folks mistake the real for the false and the false for the real. They think the body is the real self, not the spirit or the energy that animates it. So they go, oh my God, I could be harmed because they're bodily identified. If you were identified with the spirit, the consciousness, the awareness that inhabits your body, you would immediately start to update at some point where you would start to live like you could ultimately not be harmed. What do you think the spiritual martyr is? These Muslims and these folks they can't beat because they've accessed the state of consciousness where they accept. There really is no choice other than to live how we know how to live and surrender and be martyred if necessary. That's somebody who can't be beaten. It's not even about winning and losing. It's about breaking their soul and spirit. Shaitan can't get them that way. It gets them a different way, right? The subjugation, the dominance, the control, the false religious archetypes, the dogma, the abuse of women and children. It gets them a different way. the archetypal consciousness of the shaitan that we all have within us, and you could argue around us. But yeah, it can't get them on do this or else, because in their mind, they're serving their God. We can argue about that, where the inconsistencies are that we find in every culture that says they serve God, but ultimately you can't get those people with do this or else, because they're just go ahead and kill this body and you're going to set the spirit free and it's going to go back to source. That's not necessarily a detriment. You could argue if somebody does what they know is true and what's right, and they can really have that understanding and know that that's true as objectively as possible, that is the whole purpose of coming here, is to be who and what you're meant to be, especially when you're threatened that something's going to happen to your body. That's how you secure yourself here and hereafter. Right? That's seemingly the whole point of incarnating here, is we're going to get various choices along the way to do what the spirit in us knows is true and what's right, or submit to the ways of the world. And then we get an individual and collective judgment. That's how I've started to perceive it. It almost frees me up from all emotion as much as possible. There's nothing to think and feel about any of this. All you have to have is the instinct and the intuition and the understanding, and move from that in the moment when it's presented. The rest of this stuff is projections and rejections and burdens of the body in and of the world. I've left my body, dude, as a consciousness, and it's a completely different experience. When you come back to the body, you become aware all in one moment. I'm not my body. I'm using this body. When you look at the body and see it over there and realize I'm still here, awareness, consciousness, I can move around more freely. I have no emotion. It just feels like complete freedom from all the bonds that hold you down in the world, all the burdens, right? So when you integrate that and you come back to the body and realize, oh, I'm back in the body now, but I'm still conscious and awareness, the burden changes. The feeling of gravity and everything changes. This is what I suspect enlightenment has always been from the beginning of time. This is why certain folks are untouchable spiritually, because they're above the influence. They've seen through the veil. They know they are not the body. They only have the body to use it here, and then they let go of it. That means everything that extends off the body can no longer manipulate them and control them. Money, women, pick something. Career choice, political establishment, rules of the world. Being like that, once he realizes he is not the body, is already free. It doesn't even matter what the fuck you do to his body. And if you kill the body, that energy just goes off and has another experience. That being is spiritually untouchable. They're above the influence. They've already passed the test. They've already broken the bonds of incarnation. And then it just comes down to the hardest part, you could argue, which is now taking that understanding and information and using it in the world while not being of it, and being a source of knowledge and inspiration and empowerment for others to attain that state of consciousness through a practice. And the only way practicing that and attaining that, achieving that, and then keeping it through a practice is to go past your fears into faith, and to not fully accept that this body is where you live and die, that there is something above and beyond you as a body and this world. All right. This has been from the beginning of time, the understanding. And I can't see any other way around it. I can't see any other explanation or understanding of the cause and effect and the solution, if you want to call it a solution, because on the highest level, it really doesn't matter. You could argue if you're doing what's true and what's right and you're not engaging in this crap, well, then the rest of your life, when you're not doing instruction or facilitation, should really just be lived in peace and prosperity. And you should enjoy it as much as possible, would seem to me. You see the monks in the monastery, they're only focused on discipline and living a right life and doing what's true and correct and living outside of the beast system as much as possible, right? And the rest of their time, when they're not training and doing martial arts and doing music, is like, we're living on the land. We're here. That's it. We're co-creating. We're communing. We're enjoying our life to some degree. So yeah, again, it's like purpose and pleasure goes hand in hand. In a sense, the problem is when we're pleasure driven and we lack purpose. A man who has purpose in his life is bound to experience pleasure at some point through the art of fulfillment. That is the art of living in happiness, is fulfillment. That's why at times I have one of the greatest sense of humors here out of all the people in the truth community. I can laugh at myself. I can find joy. I can really enjoy myself now at times for the first time ever, despite even what's going on in the back of my mind and what I know is going on in the world, because I'm living with some sense of purpose that leads to fulfillment. That is true happiness at times. There's no other way to get that as a man. Not that I've seen. Go ahead, Mr. O'Shea. I'm rambling and ranting. I was born a rambling man.
No, you're good, man. That not identifying when the body's hitting me hard right now. Like it's because I get in such like a fucked up place. I'm like, this world, it's all fucked up. And then I'm just kind of like radiating that energy. It's like, man, everyone's slammed down. But then you kind of flipped it just now. Because I do have so much fear connected to the body, like even with the plates. I mean, I'm probably going to take them off as soon as I go to my car here in a little bit. But I'm like, wait. I just wait till I get to Mesquite. Wait till I'm done with this job. I drive around. Wait till I leave Vegas. But that's connecting to the body, dude. It's like if whatever this conscious thing is infinite and timeless, then what do I care about the timeline of, like, if I go to jail, if I end up with Castro, maybe they give me a full year, 2 years, they run them consecutive. Well, who gives a fuck? I'm probably going to come out way better somehow. I'm going to surprise myself with how much better I'm off after that experience. Maybe nothing even happens, or maybe, I don't know. I just have all this in my head, all this fear, what could happen. Instead of faith. I don't know. It's kind of, I can see the happiness or whatever from that experience of like facing these fears, like you said, going towards them. And then that
right. There's a difference between going to jail for doing what's true and what's right versus going to jail for trying to live some fucking lie and acting like a clown in and of the world, right? So, I mean, again, there's so much subjectivity to this experience because we can talk about the objective, but perspective is the reality for the person experiencing it until it changes. So, what I mean by that is somebody might go to jail doing what's true and what's right and not have the same experience that I would choose to have. You're going to choose a different experience. I was victimized. I'm living in loss. I was abandoned. Nobody cares about me. Nobody's showing up for me. There's the self-sabotage, self-defeatism. Those are the times when you're made because it's going to force you to choose thoughts, emotions, and actions that define you. If you choose to be a victim and a lowlife and a loser and a coward and weak and disempowered, you're going to feel like that and you're going to live like that. And motherfuckers are going to receive you like that. So again, you could bear witness and testimony in any venue, and you can argue that a motherfucker's faith isn't really tested or made until their back is against the wall or they're given power or both. That's when we're going to be introduced to who and what you really are and what you could be. Right? That's the only way to know it. So all these folks who like to talk about God and faith and rights and principles and truth, I don't believe you. Because if you were really about that, you'd have no problem going to jail. And then while you were there saying, I know why the fuck I'm here. Because I'm in a world where folks are living in and of the world. And I am essentially in active rebellion by living my truth and the truth. They are compelled to live a lie. That's where you're supposed to be right now. That's what you guys don't get under God. I could argue you folks right now who talk all this shit and vote for Donnie for rights and freedom, you should be in jail right now because you should have already stood for rights and freedoms and dropped all the worldly crap and dealt with what's meant for you and love your fate. You don't do it because you have no faith. You're living in fear of what's going to happen if you do. Not my problem. Well, it becomes my problem, right? I can't solve it for you. I can only solve it for me as I perceive it and then give it to you. And if it's true for you, you walk with it and experience and find out. But that's what's become true for me. And if you don't think that it does a fuck on my ego, it does. It fucks my ego 10 different ways to Sunday. Because there's times where I'd rather play it safe. There's times where I go, I could do this and get away with it. in the sense of nobody's going to know. I'll know. I'll know that I'm submitting, cooperating, and complying and doing something outside of what I know is true and what's right. That's all that matters. That's the integrity. So yeah, it's a constant practice. It's a constant test and challenge. There's always going to be times where you're tasked to go with your faith, and potentially you could be argued or compromised into just doing what everyone else does because of the fear of what may happen if you don't. That comfort zone will kill you. You will be on your deathbed one day, like they gave the speech in The Patriot, Braveheart, whatever it was. You could go home and lay in your bed and live for a time. And when you're old and you're dying in your bed, you'll be regretful because you never took the chances and opportunities to be who and what the fuck you were meant to be. You sold out to be like everybody else. So even if I could get one moment to stand as myself and actualize and realize and submit to God and the truth and my fate and love that and surrender the rest, I'm already made in that moment. It's just like in the mafia. We're serving this thing in the code of this thing. That's the moment you're made, right? That's how you live that life. These are the same people who many of them will go live in a criminal organization with that way. They'll do crime all their life. When the time comes to go to court, they'll sit in court and smile because they know that's where their bones are made. You don't live that life avoiding court. You live that life expecting to go to prison. And that's where everybody's made or broken, is the time when you have to go to prison and you either rat and fold or you stand your fucking ground and do your time. And guess what? 3/4 of them talk a whole bunch of shit on the ground and out when they're out and about, and they walk around with the outfits and the bitches and the chains and all the rest of it. When it's time to go do the fucking time for how the fuck you've been living and what code you follow, they got to whining and crying and ratting and lying. That's where you're made and broken. Not all the rest of the shit. The hits on the street, the drug dealing, the money, the women, the cars. That's guaranteed. That's the extras. Where you're made and broken is when it's time to put up or shut up. And you got to deal with sacrifices and consequences. That's when everyone else in that life, in that world, is going to know who and what you are and what you're made of. Just like you're going to know it. And then you're going to get another opportunity. This is who and what you are and what you've been. This is what you could be. You got to have an ethic for that. You got to have some kind of thing in you that compels you to do that for your own reasons, right? It's not about everything else. Oh, this guy ratted on me, so I ratted back. It don't work like that. There's been situations where I had to go to jail and stay there, and I could have got an option to cop out. I could have got an option to rat on someone else. I knew other people ratted on me, and still I lived how I was living out there in there. That's the integrity. If I'm going to do heroin and sell drugs and be involved with lowlives and criminals, I know what's coming for me. That's the difference. I lived every day expecting to go to fucking prison. The fact that I'm still here talking is beyond me. That's why I show up the way that I do, because I lived my whole fucking life expecting to go to prison the way I was living. It is what it is. It was only a shock to everyone else around me once we got to jail or once we got to court. I knew why the fuck I was there. I knew I was going. It was always meant for me, right? So, again, when we do what we do, regardless of what our reasons are, there's a certain code and ethic. And the time comes where everyone's made and broken when they have to stand their position and take accountability and responsibility, not point to everyone else, make excuses, justifications, throw other people under the bus and not have to deal with the consequences. No, that's not what a man does. That's it. That's the only way you're going to get respect in any fucking venue. I don't care if it's in front of God, the court, whoever, whatever. Even if you've done less than savory or proper activity, you got to take accountability, responsibility. You got to stand your position and move forward, and you got to accept the consequences. And sometimes as a man, you got to fucking sacrifice. It is what it is. There's no way around it. So that's why I've dedicated the rest of my life to living as true and correctly and rightly as possible, even if it seems like I'm a bit on the fringes and on the edges. I don't cause loss, injury, and harm. I don't involve myself in illegal activity more than necessary, in the sense of if I have an extra ounce or two of reefer, it's for personal use. I don't deal in anything. I don't distribute anything. I don't profiteer off any ways of the world that could be perceived as unlawful or illegal. I only live my life at this point based on what I see as true and right and equitable and ethical and logical, right? So if I had to go back to working at a warehouse, I'm not paying the tax. I'm filing and I'm giving him notice, exempt. This is my understanding. If you have another understanding, correct it. Still got to work. Still got to earn your keep. You know, so yeah, man, this is the thing that we all lack in and we've been slacking in, whether we're being taught it or teaching it, is accountability and responsibility and standing on your square as a man and not wavering. And it's not about being a fucking tough guy either. I'm not a tough guy. I don't like fighting. I don't like physical controversy and conflict. I stay away from people who are a problem and a liability. Always have. Don't enjoy it. But there's certain times where you got to do what you got to do, what's true and what's right. And whatever happens to you doesn't matter as much about you having to live with yourself for the rest of your fucking life and what you've done and not done. I've learned that from me. It's the antithesis of being a tough guy. It's about being a faithful, honorable man. Everybody's weak at times. Everybody's vulnerable. Everybody cries. Everybody experiences pain and suffering. Go ahead, Mr. O'Shea. I'm passionate today. Right? I'm speaking from the heart. I got Ryan Horde here. Says blessings. Always good to see him. You know, he has a good heart. He's got some light in his eyes. Always has kind of a good spirit about him. So good to see that he's well and that he's still following along with the broadcast and getting some value out of it. That's reassuring for me. That's inspiring and motivating for myself. Folks show that they're getting value here some way, somehow. And then I have to trust that they're a good judge of themselves and character and that, you know, they're not caught up in some cult of personality here with me. That there is some true value here. There's you know, something that comes forth here through me or with me and others here that compels others to do and be and have better, right? I think that that's doing good work. No matter what venue you're in. I think that that's what true governance and leadership and politics is supposed to be about. And I think that it's like, you know, the antithesis of that at this point. So I strive to be that and do that as much in my life out of uniform and out of a system, you know, by just showing who and what I am and speaking that truth from my heart that I presume is in everyone else's heart because we're all one self. You know, God don't make mistakes. That's clear. There's definitely an order here. There's definitely an understanding here. There's a resonation here. You got to live that and be that and do that. And like Brian was saying the other day, you know, I'm not going to say I'm proud of him, but it makes me feel good when I speak to him and he gets re-inspired and he gets back on his shit and calling it completely how it is. We're not here to go with what's profitable. We're not here to go with what's popular. We're here to do what the fuck is true and what's right, even if that means we do without. We leave money on the table and we quote unquote make enemies out of other folks who don't want to live that way. That's it. I can't see anything else going on here. Not enough money and whatever the fuck else in the world to get me to forsake that walk and touching that inner space of true self-esteem and self-worth. Something that I was lacking most of my life. Right? Now that I have that, now that I've touched that, I ain't giving that up for anything or anybody. You can call it egotistical, narcissistic, and all the rest of it. Seems to work for me till it doesn't. Go ahead, Brian O'Shea. You're tweaking and super aggressive. Take over.
Yeah, I'm just getting ready to go out on a job. This is great stuff, though. I'm inspired. Thinking about to take the plates off. I'm super scared. Fucking won't have Wi-Fi while I'm on the road because I'm embarrassed to admit that fucking been working up out in the heat, let my money drop, but I'm not fucking asking.
We never finished your video, Brian O'Shea. I fucking cut you off and went on a whole rant and ramble again and got in a loop like I always do. So let's finish it up. Your boy is contemplating here right now. He's making a decision what he's going to do with all this false worldly power that he's collected. Have officer discretion. So if you ascertain that he's not under the influence and he's not a direct threat to the public and he's been moving freely for over 5 years, as you said, without causing any loss, injury, or harm to the public, well, then we don't have a safety issue. We have a rights issue. He has to be free to travel.
Okay, listen, that's something for you guys to debate with the courts, okay? not on the side of the
But you
road.
can't. But for real, like to put it off on the courts, we're having a man-to-man interaction. Like, doesn't you feel? Didn't you hear what he said? Like, there's been no one injured in 5 years. There's no one injured currently right now, and you're potentially drag me out of the car.
Because I know that's your belief in what you guys believe in, but
it's been ruled on, sir. I know you're saying a belief. The municipal corporation holds a belief that is not in line with the law of the land and what's been ruled on.
all right. Like I said, I'm not going to debate this back and forth with you over the phone, though. Okay, he was pulled over for a lawful reason. His registration is expired. He needs to provide a driver's license, proof of insurance.
Right, he's pulled over for a legal reason, and he's not part of the legal society, nor is he in contract with that entity. So if you have a belief and you want to act on that belief and fill out the paperwork and present it to him or leave it on the property, nobody is interfering with your ability to conduct your profession as you see fit, enforcing code and policy on a lawful man.
I need him to come out of the car, though.
Why does he need to come out of the car for you to write up paperwork?
He needs to come out of the car at this point, all right? Because this is gone.
Do we have a reason why he needs to subject himself to even more fear and coercion and duress?
The realm that he's obstructing the officer's investigation by not complying, okay?
Well, what is the officer investigating for that would require him to leave the safety of his car?
I'm not going to keep debating with you. I've told you already a couple times. It's a traffic.
No, I'm asking you for articulable. I'm asking you for reasonable, articulable suspicion, which you are supposed to provide. What are you?
I told you the registration's expired.
Right, so you can go ahead and write up the paperwork for that, and we can move forward. And then he'll have his day at court. Why does he need to leave the safety of his car for you to finish what you've already initiated and started?
Because at this point, he's going to be under arrest.
Okay, so then you were just lying.
Are you going to peacefully comply? Step out of the car.
So if he's under arrest, then you were lying under oath when you just said you weren't going to tow that car. How do you plan to put him under arrest and not do something with that car?
That's not what I said. I said initially they may not have towed the car.
Okay. So what was the determination you just came to right now that he's now going to be under arrest, and for what? And then what's going to happen to that car that has become his domicile? How much harm and loss are you going to put him through?
Honestly, with you on the phone, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm talking to him. Okay. So here's what's going to happen. Are you going to step out of the car? Yes or no? Because the next step is going to be we're going to force you out of the car. Will you get out of the car peacefully, please?
What I don't understand is
yes or no. Are you going to get out of the car?
No, it's not yes or no, because this
is your last chance.
I just don't see how it's my last chance. Because you can't understand that you're going to cause way more loss, injury, harm than me than has been caused to anything in this situation. You're trying. This is for safety, right? You think I'm going to be more safe by being taken out of my home and having my home towed and me going to jail? Is that safer in this situation? Like logically, you were the nice guy earlier, right? You were the nice guy earlier, right? The nice, humble guy, right? That's what a nice guy does. They take someone's home. And there's been no injured party.
Are you going to come out?
Well, is he under arrest, sir? Is he under arrest?
Looks like Chandler did it. Yeah, you're under arrest. Yeah. Are you going to come out?
Okay, so he's claiming that you're under arrest. Okay, so what are you being charged with? Ask him what you're being charged with, and then if he's going to put you under arrest, then I guess at that point you're going to have to address it. Yeah, because you dared to interfere with their coercive, duressive, false contracting process, right? We're telling you have no choice but to identify and produce a bunch of documents you may not have. The presumption is everyone has this crap and has to give it to them because they claim you're not following their advisory code for safety. So now we're going to just make something up on the fly. Nothing was stopping any of those clowns from writing up the damn ticket with the same information they've had over and over again and setting another court date to go over this. No, now at this point you're under arrest because you're obstructing. You guys just use that. That's a throwaway, right? Or resisting arrest when you do violence on someone and they don't completely submit and let you stomp their face in. They resisted. They tugged a little bit while we were grappling and rolling around with them. They were tugging and resisting a little bit. Resisting or obstructing. No one obstructed your investigation. Why would he have to leave the safety of his car in order for you to finish an investigation you started, which you claim is all for registration. The investigation's pretty quick and easy. Haven't had it for 5 years. They've set a bunch of court dates. We're going to handle that however it fleshes out. You can write up another one if you guys are so hungry for bills and tickets and revenue. Write up another one. No, it's really just about your ego. He didn't submit, cooperate, comply. He didn't do what you asked. So now you're going to force contract and you're going to tack on that he's obstructing. How is he obstructing by sitting in the car? Not producing a document you claim everyone has to have. There's no obstruction there. Pure nonsense.
What a obstructing
coming
what?
out?
You guys are about to cause a whole heap of lawsuits with no one's gonna
that's fine. That's fine. We'll fight that out in court if that's how you feel.
Yeah, he doesn't care. They
You
don't
tell me
care.
that,
We
yes
have
or no?
qualified
How did
immunity.
we
We don't
obstruct
care.
you?
Our
In order
attorneys
from
will
giving.
show up.
How
The
did we
attorneys will
show
show you
up?
from filing the fine
Lately.
properly. How did he interfere, obstruct you from? How did he interfere, obstruct you from filing the no registration ticket?
Here.
Last chance. What are you doing
Did
with
he
your hand?
not? Did he not just say that you have no registration? How did he obstruct you from writing a registration summons?
You're done.
You're done. You're in charge here, pal. There you go. Deprivation of rights under color of law.
You're being super aggressive. Being super aggressive.
That's Brian's favorite line. Sarge says, Daddy Sarge says, Daddy Sarge just made it up on the spot. He said, wasn't going to arrest you. Just come out of the car. Not going to arrest you. This could just be a simple summons for no registration. Okay, write up the summons for registration. No, he's got to come out of the car. Why does he have to leave the safety of his car? Well, no registration. Well, he's obstructing now. That's why he has to leave the car, because I just made up obstruction when I just said he wasn't under arrest. We could just give you a simple summons for registration. So they're just lying, making things up as they go, exerting their power and will because they feel they all have to do it. So why shouldn't he? And nothing they're saying is making any sense, and none of it is lawful. So, again, at what point does everybody neglect their obligations, responsibility, accountability, and just go straight ego, not make any sense, embarrass themselves, and then potentially cause loss, injury, and harm on themselves and their fellow man, and just desecrate the law of the land, right? So they're double talking, they're spinning, they don't have the goods, they never do, and they just can't humble themselves to leave, the majority of them, and move on with their day. So they got to stick something on them. Well, what do you do? Obstruction. He didn't obstruct you from writing a no registration ticket, as you said you could purposely do with no issues. More nonsense. More fraudulent claims. No, you're interfering and obstructing him from his freedom of movement. And you're trying to reverse the dynamic and the narrative like a narcissistic, power-hungry deceiver would do. And it doesn't fly with me or this audience or that force of creation. So what else is new? The biggest bitch-ass beta male in the bunch was the decision maker. The most effeminate, mincing, lisping Poindexter was the top of the list decision maker. How ironic. All the other buff, steroided out, tough guys were right there with me, knew what the fuck I was saying was true. They don't like it, but they know it's true, and they respect me and him for it. And of course, the lisping, mincing, simping, Poindexter, beta male dweeb is going to be the one with the most ego and the most arrogance and ignorance and the least conscience and the most willing to lie in the open with thousands of people watching and do fraudulent fake charges. He wasn't obstructing anybody from doing anything. He doesn't have to leave his car when you just said you weren't towing it, and it would have been a simple infraction. No one was stopping you from doing that. You just weren't humble enough to move on, write up the paperwork, and let him continue on the way he has been. So we're going to prove a point today, he thinks. Most likely he's going to go down to wherever. He's going to see a judge or an administrator within a day or two. He's going to show up at the court. Okay, they're going to review all of it. And if he stands on certain things, they're going to say either dismissed or we wish you to come back such and such a time. And then you have to go from there. Listen, there's nothing guaranteed in this. I've told him and everyone else that if you think you're going to stand for rights, freedom, and principles and potentially not get arrested and not go to jail at some point, I think you're delusional because we're already in a prison, metaphorically, metaphysically. The statute, policy, and code runs the majority of people's lives. They follow it implicitly. They harm themselves and each other to upkeep it. It's not for our best good and our safety. We've proven that over the last 4 years. So where do we go from now, folks? Where do we go from here? As individuals and collectively, what's the option? Go along to get along, keep serving the system and the devil, or step up, stand out, and surrender the consequences and do what's true and what's right in your conscience and your heart. You choose, just like we all do. And go ahead, for the rest of you folks, write me up as a bad, horrible, evil person who got Brian O'Shea, who's almost twice my age, into this, and I did something bad and wrong to him and for him. He was easily misled by Paulie boys, loose cannon, sob-sit, terroristic rap. I tell you folks over and over again, I do what I do because it's true and it's right to me. I've gone to jail over and over again. I'm probably going to have to go again, knowing the probabilities and outcomes of what we've seen. So if you think that I don't live the way I live, expecting on some level to be tested and challenged, I do. If anyone else wants to walk this walk with me, expect the same. If you do the same and don't expect the same, you're a fool. Because I could argue the tests and the challenges are what makes you and gives you faith, not what you should run from and be scared of.
Leave your thoughts about this. Is it legitimate and within the realm of righteousness to lay claim to the life and property of another man just because it's the acceptable pattern and practice of the day? Even if the officers felt the need to write a traffic citation, why is it necessary to arrest him, imprison him, and steal his vehicle? Why does a man have to leave the safety of his vehicle so an officer can write a citation in the first place? What part of any of this is rational, reasonable, and just? Leave your comments below. The link to the original video will be in the description. Subscribe, hit the bell, like, and share this video. If you want to support the channel further, grab a shirt, become a channel member, but more importantly, discern and act upon what is right in a world dominated by wrong.
Those guys are being super aggressive and tweaking. Your thoughts, Mr. O'Shea, before we move forward? We still got about 40 minutes left or more, depending on what I want to do with the final hour.
Yeah, I'm just taking my plates off now. I'm super fearful about it.
Man, they might be super aggressive and even more tweaky if they don't see plates on the car. This guy's really like crazy and wild. He's got no like legal identifier. Holy crap. What are you going to go with, bro? Like, you know what's coming with this. Part of you is like a kamikaze. I think part of you subconsciously knows that you may end up in jail, and you really want to push this to see where it goes. You're a morbid gambler like I am, right? You're a sadomasochistic, morbid, cosmic gambler. And somehow or another, through that darkness, it seems it's possible more faith can be cultivated. I guess that's somewhat a choice and somewhat, thrust upon you as an opportunity. But yeah, man, I want to be clear that like I don't want to see anything happen to you. And this is precisely the game, right? This is the game we're in. Is we have love and care for people. We don't want to see anything happen to anybody, but we understand this is the price that we pay. Right? It's like, if we want the freedom to choose and freedom to move and not be, experiencing more and more of this, then we're going to have to do something different. So as much as I don't want to see anything happen to you, I know, like for you, for myself, whatever happens, happens. And ultimately, we have to reconcile that. We have to surrender in faith. So if you're going to do that, maybe put notice on the car somehow, some way. There's various ways folks do this. I'm not going to contend that I have one way that's bulletproof. Here's where Wizard and all the rest would show you pictures of them at some point, at least with a cardboard thing on the car. I don't know if they ride around with it, but a piece of cardboard or something that kind of says out of service. Trying to think of what a way to give notice. That was the typical old way, quote unquote, with the taxis and the buses even, who were under the corporate contract, is they would have an out of service light, which would essentially put them in a different capacity. It's really just about then moving the property from point A to point B and then having it stored at a yard. So, yeah, I mean, you know, you got to look into, and then you got to search yourself about what you want to do, you know, what you believe is necessary and proper, what you think is equitable, right? If you want equity, you got to come with equity. So if you give notice about who and what you are somewhere on the car that they can read, I mean, what they're going to do, obviously, you know, they all have this thing of we're all Sovsets. If you believe in rights and freedom and principles, you're a Sovset. And we know what you guys believe, right? So they're kind of saying they don't believe that. So, you know, just putting notice on the car, hey, not in service, you know, moving from point A to point B to storage. I mean, this is the joke of it is there's codes in their legal codes in most of these state ups that I've looked at where they give exemptions. Like they will have a clause in the code that says, if you're moving the car to storage or for an emergency, then the rest of this code does not have to be applied, right? Which kind of then pierces the veil of this is all advisory anyway, because through discretion and even looking at the code, one could ascertain if I'm not moving around day to day, regardless of what I'm doing, traveling or commerce, I'm moving this property from point A to point B to be stored at a garage. There really is no reason that can't be done, right? I mean, they could argue, well, it scares us. It's really unsafe that these papers equate to safety. And when you don't have that, you're taking it on the roadway and endangering everyone. There's no logic to that, right? So it's like, we're not going to go and pay a tow truck to haul a $2,000 car, you know, 2 miles away. We're not going to pay thousands of dollars to have a car hauled 2 miles away when we could just get in it, move it, and store it. Their code says in the event of an emergency, or if a car is basically not in service and it's being transported to storage, that the officers are not supposed to be arresting. You know, so then at that point, we have like serious kind of gray area here where your code says essentially, I'm in emergency right now. There's nothing stopping me from claiming I'm moving around right now in emergency. And then they're going to say, well, what's the emergency? Well, if I don't get to work, I mean, this is all subjective and relative. If I don't get to work today, I'm not going to be able to feed myself and I'm going to die. That's an emergency. And then they're going to say, we don't understand how anything works. Could just go to the court and argue that. You know, we're back to square one. So your fucking code says if you're taking the car to storage or moving an emergency, and then you're going to have to define what emergency is. And they don't explicitly state that in the code. So then we have to go to court and argue, well, your code says there, presuming there's no law and rights anymore, your code says emergency. What do you, administrator, characterize as an emergency? Like mama's got to be having a heart attack? What are we talking about? The law is expressed, not implied. Code has to be expressed, not implied. There's just so much gray area and nonsense in this, and folks just don't care to look and try to understand and try to practice and apply it. That's why we're in code-based fascism and slavery. I got to screen this person. Capophenia, can I see you and hear from you? Is that Smith Creature? Greetings, Smith Creature.
How you doing?
I'm blessed, sir.
I just drop in every once in a while, man. You've had some good stuff. Appreciate it.
Right, Machine Lies is down there. I emailed him the other day because he's got some good commentary. Again, I could take up the fight with everyone about what's everyone doing on the ground. Are you doing legal, lawful? Are you applying the remedies, trying to get resolution? Are you trying to hold these folks accountable, or at least yourself accountable? There's various places that I could have contention with myself and other selves. At times, I try to put that aside, you know, but again, it's hard to, because it's like I could say Machine Lies has some good commentary on ancient wisdom, and you know, he can seem to talk about that and expound on it, but I find it hard to separate from commentating commenting to living it, right? So, and then it becomes, hey, maybe it's open for discussion. Maybe he has an understanding of a way to the way, specifically when it comes to the Tao, because I heard him speaking on that, right? His understanding of the Tao. And, there's not too much that he doesn't say that I can't say applies to my own experience, right? But again, then there's certain experiences I have that he can't speak on that I guess that's what it all comes down to. I wish that there was more ability for all of us to speak on these certain things that I've done or experienced only because I believe we need to do them. It's not because I'm Pauly Boy, do what I'm doing. It's a party over here. I'm like, objectively, we need to do these certain things. I'm doing it or have done it. I wish for you to have the same experience so you can report back to me what your experience is. And maybe you can see a little bit of something different for yourself and the potentiality here. Right. So oftentimes I get myself into trouble with a lot of folks because I'm not willing to sit next to them and just talk about ancient wisdom or whatever the case may be indefinitely and never address the facts of the matter. Hey, bro, what are you doing on the ground? If you love this information and this consciousness and this land and whatever else so much, why are you not embodying that? Why are you not living that more? Right. And I would think that that's like encouraged, especially amongst men. That's kind of like what makes us or breaks us when it comes to the communal aspect of who and what we are and how we live. Is there's got to be times where the men sit around and go, hey, we're going to account before God and each other right now, who and what we are, what we're doing and not doing, because we know we need that to keep us in check, right? Nobody's above or beyond the program. So, yeah, I mean, that's how I became an asylum over here. Is because I became aware chaos, controversy, conflict, questioning, criticism, all has to be embraced or at least opened up to on some level. Because if not, we're going to continue to live in an echo chamber and a false sense of security, and we're going to keep verifying concepts that are not real and true for ourselves or each other. And it's going to continue to lead us into more darkness, chaos, ignorance, and then by proxy, the need for arrogance and false self-ego to cope, right? So, yeah, Paulie got the rap, not nice, kind, and polite for a reason. I don't need to be. We don't come here, as far as I'm concerned, to be nice, kind, and polite. We can share love and care here, and we do that by sharing truth here, because the first part of love and care is true love and care. And you can't have true love and care if you're living a lie, lying to yourself and lying to others. And oftentimes the way we get down to it, what the fuck's really going on, is through that simulation of chaos and conflict and criticism and courting, right? They showed you who and what the Castro is. They may do it with me at some point. I may be forced to look back at myself and say, I was talking a whole bunch of shit and living it on some level, but I wasn't really ready for this. And I'm not prepared to go forward. This is the test and the challenge for all of us. So this venue here has become a mini simulation of that courting process, because they're going to show you who and what you are and what the fuck you're really about and where you could potentially go, good or bad. So I say we start opening up these truth communities to public interaction and intercourse between other content creators. We can share, we can co-create, we can cross-platform and share audience. But ultimately, it has to be about sharing truth and holding ourselves and each other accountable and asking the tough questions and giving answers that oftentimes we don't like while we're giving them. But the truth is the truth.
You're spot on. That's the only thing that matters is truth. I didn't mean to cut you off.
All right, so no, you didn't cut me off. Go ahead.
That's the only thing that matters. And I like what you had to say about people not worrying about your bodily harm. It's not about that. You're not supposed to be of the flesh. And you were talking about men being men. And I found it interesting. I saw an old clip, whoever shared it. And they actually used to nothing against women. They didn't allow women into bars until the late 1960s. That's where men talked about the shitty things happening and what they were going to do about it. But now bars are just a big flirtation. I'm not against that. I mean, I get it. But
right, because we've not been able to compartmentalize. I may be one of the most, I'll get a rap. I've only been with 4 women physically, but I've talked to a lot of women online and we've had various interactions. And I'm sure some of them think that I'm a womanizer, and maybe there is an aspect of truth to that I have a lust or desire when it comes to women. but ultimately I can at least compartmentalize that, right? We can make the judgment and I can do the self-analysis and we can get into that. But ultimately it's like beyond my worldly desires or my bodily desires or pleasures or love or whatever it is, ultimately I understand that I'm in this for me and for my growth and development and for my witness and testimony and for my relationship with God. I can't put any person, place, or thing in front of or above that. So I just have come to learn as an addict and someone who has issues at times with impulses and compulsions, self-control. I've learned that you have to serve something or some idea outside of self. I mean, that's one of the 12 steps. You have to find a power greater than yourself in this world and serve that. If not, then your compulsions, impulses, desires will cause your own suffering immediately because you're not having any purpose or meaning or value outside of that. You're living in and of the world. So it doesn't mean I don't have that, right? I could be one of the most horniest, freakiest, whatever. I have something in me that at least has always been, that I've cultivated more, somewhat of a protection and intuition for me. At some point in interaction, I start to realize this is not really meant for me. The voice was always kind of there. And at times we kind of ignore it or we pave over it. But the little voice is always in there kind of telling you, despite your bodily desires and pleasures, there's probably not much here for what you're wanting. There's other stuff here for what everybody needs, usually work to do. There's usually fellowship, right? A lot of women, that's why I say to her, if we ever do something on the ground, I can't do fellowship and quote unquote teaching or interactions with women, right? Because it's going to call out an aspect of me that's not going to be as functional for what needs to be done there. I almost need women who are seeing what I'm seeing and experiencing the same thing to have a firsthand role with other women, right? Because this is what gets us caught up. You start bringing women around, like in treatment, we see what happens. Dr. Phil got caught up, because we act like we're going to fix everybody and we don't have our own impulses and compulsions and sort of animal nature. So yeah, at times you got to tell on yourself. That's what you learn in treatment as well. Hey, this is what I am. I know I got it in me. It's probably best to keep that shit at a distance, right? It's not that I don't want to help them and I'm not available for that. It's that I have a certain nature that can override that at times. And yeah, part of the self-responsibility and accountability is practicing self-control and self-direction. But again, you don't put yourself in a candy store and then be surprised when you wind up eating some candy if you're on a diet, right? So, this is where, like, as you're kind of bringing out, I'm not going to do it from this like bitter, resentful war within the sexes that they want us all in, right? It just comes down to proper process and procedure and common sense. When you go to treatment, it's women over here, men over there, not because we're doing sexism, because we know ourselves. And if we don't know ourselves, the people in charge do. And they know we're going to neglect our work and our purpose and meaning and value trying to fraternize with the opposite sex, right? So, yeah, man, especially as addictive beings, which you could argue all human beings are, but some people more than others, they're a bit extreme. They got like energy for certain things. They want to gamble. They're involved in seeking behavior at times. How do you direct that? I contend that however crazy the simulation is, the addict is the perfect person to be used by God. Because if you just take all the negative qualities that makes their life unmanageable and direct them toward the truth, it then takes on a new meaning and a new lifestyle and beingness, right? Imagine if the addict was addicted to the word of truth and being and living that, right? And was unwavering, willing to gamble it all, right? Willing to pursue something unwaveringly, the same way they do drugs and alcohol and sex, right? If we could just take this addictive quality in us and redirect it toward right, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, and co-creating, we'd be the perfect servants of that force. But we don't do that. We direct it in and of the world. We're going to chase drugs and pussy and money. And we're going to ignore all the detriments to ourselves in favor for what we want. Imagine if we did that for what was true and what's right. If we ignored the consequences. Hey, they're going to put us in jail. They're going to kill us. Doesn't matter. I'm addicted to this shit. I'm not going to stop. I'm doing what's true and what's right. I'm becoming and actualizing and realizing I will succeed. I will be the archetypal man. Nothing less than that is going to fulfill me. I believe that's our purpose here. So, you know, that's where we fall short. Instead of folks getting addicted to actualization and realization, seeking that shit, pursuing that shit, not giving a fuck what happens the same way they do money and pussy and drugs and alcohol, in and of the world, infidels, nihilists, addicts, bondage, vice. Again, addiction is no coincidence to me. These words are a motherfucker. The word addiction, you could see it as vice and bondage, or when you break it up, toward the word addiction. I was a person who was in and of the world, and I was a part of pretty much every addiction, one way or the other, that made my life unmanageable. At some point, a higher order self and conscience took over, right? And at least on some level started to direct me toward these ideals and values. And it's probably an ongoing process, like it is for all of us. You know? So, yeah, man, if we could just start to see that words have meaning, that point to an experience of the one self and the one truth, the one life, one way, we can get addicted, addiction toward the word. And that we can make that our whole life person, our whole life purpose. And that can be what helps to generate that dopamine and that serotonin and all those other positive chemicals, right? This is what I believe a lot of the mental emotional illness is a lack of these certain chemicals. And we can, if we live what's true and what's right, and we practice faith and surrender, it does look like, you know, a mundane life at times, and it looks like extremes at times. You know, and it's really just about how much you want to lean into that, like any other lifestyle. But yeah, man, I think we can start to get back our sense of self, our self-worth, our self-value. I think we could start to regenerate, you know, some endorphins, some endogenous neurotransmitters that are synonymous with wellness, even in the worst of conditions, right? I've kind of proven that concept, as many others have in the past, that you could be in jail or in a tent or doing without anything and be happier and more fulfilled than you ever were with more shit and more people and more. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't trying to cut you off. I was just saying, as long as, like
I know,
you said,
I'm not. Relax, bro. I'm not.
As long as you're, like you said, as long as you're standing for what's right and true, because who has the highest suicide rate? It's men, because I think men see what's happening in the world and they throw their arms up and say, what can I do? You can stand up to it. That's what you can do. You can be men. I 100% agree with you, Paul. I'm going to jump off your panel, but you've been fired today. I always drop in. I give you a thumbs in. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. There's one way out of this.
The reality of this mental and emotional.
The right thing is the truth. That's all there is.
Yeah, the reality of this mental and emotional illness is if you won't follow your conscience, it's going to eat you alive. And at some point, you're going to wind up harming yourself or somebody else. You know, there's really no way out of it. You're going to wind up either directly or indirectly killing yourself and becoming the sacrifice, or you're going to go off and kill somebody else and become the sacrifice. Because you know somewhere in you there's more for you and you're not accessing it. You're not moving into it. You're not living it. And then life just becomes worthless. I love you,
Brian, too. I'm dipping out. I love you. I'll keep listening.
We appreciate you, Smith. Yeah, man, this is the whole idea of psychology and sub-psychology. This is what folks like Freud and Jung and all the rest were, I think, trying to indicate to us what their findings were, which is the same findings we all come to, that we have to dredge up what's in the subconscious mind. We have to make all the unconscious things that we will not address or that we ignore conscious, so that we can come to a reconciliation point, become a holistic being, rather than this infractuated consciousness where we have different aspects of self, but they're compartmentalized, right? Rather than compartmentalizing the experience, we've compartmentalized aspects of ourself and personality in order to fit into a world and an experience. That's how you create mental and emotional illness. You know, I mean, it seems so simple, yet so complicated, apparently, because it's going to require faith and doing certain things different than what we're used to. And that's kind of the hardest part, is building habits for success. You know, putting in the time, oftentimes when you don't want to, until you do it so often that it just becomes who and what you are. It's rebuilding the self. You know, and sometimes it's going to look like work. You're going to be pushing resistance. Just like you would be at the gym. You're going to be metaphysically pushing resistance. Your thoughts, Brian O'Shea? Take over, man. We got to hear more from you.
I'm just making I took the plates off. I'm going to put this thing on there, out of service, taking the storage. I'll put it in the back window, I guess.
You'd say, what the fuck is this nonsense? This guy's some kind of sob-sit, homeless slave. Thinks he could just ride around. Did you hear the guy's logic too? I love their logic. They're all the same. It's like a factory that makes these people. They have the same bodily identified, egocentric status logic. Hey, I have a personal vehicle and I believe I have to have all these things to travel freely because I don't understand myself, the law of the land, rights, or philosophy. Why don't you have to have it? You think you're special, pal? No, I think you're an idiot, among other things. I think you're dumb and I think you're cowardly. And I think you spend little to no time asking the age-old questions of who am I? Where am I coming from? Where am I going? That's what I think, right? It's just their arrogance. They presume, hey, dummy, what are you, so poor or just so arrogant? You don't think you have to do what the rest of us poor, indebted, slaved out, arrogant slaves got to do? Yeah, because I think you're poor, pathetic, embarrassing, cowardly, duped out slaves who don't understand yourselves or what law is. I've pretty much proven that. You've proven that by what you've said and done on and off record. I didn't do anything. I just opened up a portal for you all to prove it and a discourse for you all to prove it. So it's like that's the level we're at. They're completely in the wrong, have no knowledge of self or the universe. That's been like that from the beginning of time. The Tao Te Ching says. The average man, when you tell him of the Tao and you give them the wisdom, they laugh at you and think you're a fool and they go on their way. Only the wise man stops to embody the Tao when he hears of it or sees it. It's been like that from the beginning of time. And guess what? The average man is a fool, right? If I didn't make that clear. So yeah, the preponderance of folks in this realm are foolish and mischievous. They're clever people who think they're truly intelligent. And they're very doubtful people of themselves and of the truth. Even when shown and told, they still doubt. They still lack faith. They still presume to not be able to know in their heart-based consciousness what's objectively right from wrong. They're that fucked up subpsychologically. They think the average person thinks they're so lowly, they won't say that to you or present that. Like in the street, it's, I've arrived, I'm me, I know it all, I've got it down, I'm okay. Subpsychologically, they know. They don't know anything. They don't have any true control or power. They're just there to go along to get along and get the fringe benefits. Complete lack of self-awareness, self-esteem, self-value, self-worth. I can't say it enough. I'm looping and looping. I'm astounded. What I've come across this past decade, studying philosophy and psychology, sociology, spirituality, I'm like one of the people who wrote the Bible. I'm like, oh my God, I've come across this connection to all of these principles and these arts and how it all fits together. And there's little, if any, record or modern day experiential account of these various principles and arts of living coming together to one understanding and experience. Very sort of strange, right? Experience to have. Maybe I'm not looking in the right places. Maybe I'm just seeking to aggrandize my own experience, my own intellect. But yeah, it's like we have to go back hundreds or thousands of years to seemingly find an account of an experience that's available for all of us to have, that in seemingly every day and seemingly more now in the modern day, it's just lost on us. You know, they're like, what? Rights, freedom, what? The power to choose, what? Code's not law? What? There's a God or something that like created this universe and there's order here? What? There's an experience available for us before and after this incarnation? Sorry, I was thinking about what I was going to have for dinner and who I was going to vote for. Your thoughts, Brian O'Shea? There it is. I was waiting for it. I'm just filling time right now. Filling time. Out of service. All right, take it around now. Let's go. Take it around. Let's see if we can get arrested. Because, you know, you're really fucking unsafe. And really, you should be off the streets. I should be as well, according to these people. Why not, man? Let's travel freely. Let's get arrested. Let's go to jail. Someone's got to go.
Yeah.
Used to be you went to jail back in
I
the
gotta,
day. No, go ahead.
I'm about to go to a job, but I'm gonna lose service because I didn't pay my fucking bill because I'm a fucking dumb fuck. But yeah, I gotta go do a job, and then I'm gonna try to get to Mesquite. That's the plan.
Man, you're like
$100
really
with Mesquite.
fucking. You're like really pushing the limits here. You know, now you're not even going to display the plate. It's been expired for 5 years. You're not even going to like get the papers right. You're not going to do what they say, and you're going to put a cardboard piece up that says "not in service." Oh man, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do with you, man. We're so deep into mind and heart control that when you show people actual choice and freedom, they're just shocked. They go, why would he do that? Why would you do that? Because we want our power to choose back, and we're tired of not being free. We're tired of natural rights not being observed. We're tired of man not being recognized because it's become mankind, kind of like a man, kind of like a bitch. That's it. I mean, I don't have any belief that this is ever really going to stop in my day. I don't need to do what I believe is right. I don't have to believe that I'm going to win, that everyone's going to like do what I do. I just have to not do what they're going to do because they're afraid to lose. In order to learn how to win, one must first learn how to lose. Head administrator? Oh man, that's nasty work, King. I know what you're saying there. I know what you're trying to get at. Why are you doing that, bro? Why did you have to turn it into something deviant? Family broadcast. All right, we're gonna have to wrap up soon. What else? What the fuck else do I have up here? I just keep looping. All right, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, legal, lawful, the Tao, the way to the way, conscious and awareness. Who gives a fuck, huh? How about those Knicks? Wait, what's the latest sporting event that everybody's fixated on? Because I don't pay attention to any of it. I'm like, I don't know pretty much anything that's going on. Like, I don't even know about Kendrick and Drake. That's how out of it I am, folks. I don't even know about that. Brian O'Shea's been every day. You got to hear Kendrick and Drake. They're beefing. They're doing mixtape beefing. I'm like, dude, we're in slavery and genocide. Like, my mind always goes back to the same imagery. Like we're in the FEMA camp, and then all the people who meet here are there with me because it's a large camp. It's like a stadium, like one of those Katrina stadiums, one of those COVID stadiums. It's like large stadium, huge pandemic. We've all been deemed the enemy because let's be clear, the war on drugs, the war on the air and COVID and all that's really just a war on the people. So they just declare it officially. Hey, it's a war on everyone. We're taking you for everyone's safety to the camp. And then we get there. Brian O'Shea's like, hey, bro, like 3 weeks in, we're at the camp. He's like, hey, bro, did you hear outside the camp, Kendrick and Drake are beefing? And I go, I don't care. Like, I could have got access to that information. I chose not to because I don't care. It's very low on my list of priorities and things to care about or act upon, right? I'm like now at the point I prefer to just do and listen to the same thing day after day with little to no change, or to just go out in the middle of nowhere and like hug a tree. Like I'm at that point versus get new information about old stupidity and try to act like it has some meaning to me. You know, try to like integrate that in my life and my care and what I'm doing. I'm out of the loop, people. You know, I got no reference for culture and society and what everyone else is doing and talking about. I'm in my own world here. My own world where legal is not lawful. The person is not people. Man or a woman can be defined. Like you can actually, this is holy shit. Guys, listen to this. I live in a world where you could look at a man and a woman and know what they are just by looking at them. Going to the chat for some response here. Got anything on that? I want to see how shocked and appalled they are with you. controversial, what I just said there. We're now in a time where that's controversial. I live in a reality where I can tell what a man and a woman is just by looking at them. Yeah, see, my chat has no response. These are very old normal people. So 2 grown-ass men are probably promoting opposition when they could be picking a crap load of other things to promote. I don't know what that means. What am I supposed to be promoting exactly? You talking to me? The pig's daughter? I didn't eat yet today. I got to eat something. I'm starting to get a headache. Happens every day. Purposely avoid eating. Trying to keep it to this like window. Trying to eat a lot less. Do like this fast, non-fast. As soon as I get to the 3-hour mark, my head starts hurting. They don't care. This audience doesn't give a fuck. They're like, more, Paulie boy, more. Give us more. Work you to death. Get on the rock pile of truth. Not you, rappers. Oh, right. What did I say again? I don't even know what the fuck I was saying. So in the now, man. So in the moment. I don't even know what I was saying. Whatever it was, I'm sure it was interesting or powerful. I want to believe that. Oh, yeah. The Drake Kendrick thing. Right. That makes sense. That's what I was saying. We have a bunch of grown people now running around on social media hooting and hollering about these 2 other supposed grown men, slaves, arguing over who's more deviant. What are either of you good for? That's the question. Like, this is what the audience needs to start doing to get really egotistical and shallow. Because this is the world you're in anyway. Just go, what are you guys good for again, other than like some party favor act? You know, like you can sing, you can dance, you jump up and down on stage. As a man, what the fuck are you good for exactly in a time of slavery and genocide? I'll wait. If we could just get to that perspective as an audience, I think it'd be really good for everyone. Like maybe even all of your women would stop lusting after a bunch of inauthentic corporate male clowns who can sing and dance and jump up and down on stage. Like, there's a good chance the majority of you men out there, your woman you're with wants to fuck Drake more than you. Because she's just so fucking mind and heart controlled and indoctrinated. She thinks there's more power and value. If nothing, there's more money, which is, hello, power and value in their mind. So if we could just stop doing that, where we put all our time, energy, attention, and resources. Brian O'Shea's gone. He's had it with me. He went to talk and I interrupted him. Pissed him off. We could just stop giving our time, energy, attention, and resources to these males and their little performances in games. I think everyone will be way better off. They can just kind of disintegrate into the background of life, as they should. We're forming the foundation of a resurgence in logic, morals, ethics, and values and principles, and it's going to cause everyone to be held to that standard. And if you don't embody that, well, then you're a fucking waste to the community. What is your role exactly? Like, okay, you can sing and dance and jump up and down. You're great at that, but you're a horrible person, and you don't understand right from wrong, and you're not willing to be the man that you need to be. So you're out. We can get there. It's going to be really good for everyone. All right, final video. Border Patrol checkpoint ID refusal. 4th Amendment ends where minorities begin, I guess. I can't see the rest of the headline. Let's go to that, see what that's about.
You're impeding traffic. We'd like to be free about it to go on our way. You're the one who is stopping us here. You're stopping us here.
Disrespect this. This is a U.S. border.
You don't need to disrespect me.
And I am attempting to conduct an immigration inspection under Section 287A3 of the Immigration Nationality Act.
And I'm invoking my 5th Amendment right to remain silent.
Good afternoon, sir. U.S. Border Patrol. Please remove yourself from the vehicle, sir. Otherwise, you will be forcibly removed. Martinez Fuerte, case law 2428, sir, states that any vehicle at 100 nautical miles will be inspected for
What's up, guys? Welcome back. Government seems to think that the Fourth Amendment ends where a minor inconvenience begins. We got a border checkpoint refusal video for you, and we're going to play the oral argument for you regarding this Supreme Court case. I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions. Do you believe that these checkpoints are Fourth Amendment violations or just a minor inconvenience where government wants to run everybody through the ringer to make sure that you're not here illegally? These types of videos are nothing new. We've been seeing them for a long time. And it seems like we're going to continue to see these videos as long as these types of laws exist. These guys pretty much get roughed up at the end of the video. They reached out and sent this video to me, so make sure you guys go subscribe to their channel. I'll drop the link in the description and in the pinned comment for you as always. Without further ado, folks, I'll see you at the end with my final thoughts.
In 74-15-60, United States against Martinez, and 75-53-87, Cifuentes against the United States. Again, we have two cases that present the same issue. The problem here arises from aliens who enter the United States illegally, primarily from Mexico. The border with Mexico is almost 2,000 miles long. There are several million aliens illegally in the country, most of whom cross the Mexican border surreptitiously. They avoid lawful ports of entry, cross on foot at various points, and rendezvous with smugglers who transport them inland. The Border Patrol conducts three kinds of inland traffic.
Hard at. We're still waiting for you to be a man and come on up and talk to me, since you're always watching, waiting, and hating and feeling things about me. Since you can't get over your daddy and you're always here watching and waiting and sometimes hating out in the open, why don't you come up and talk to me like a man? Unless you're just doing false strength, acting out, but you're really scared and a coward. Because if you weren't a scared coward, you just come up and talk to me about whatever it is you're feeling that you can't let go of about me. Okay, so like maybe you're jealous and envious because you're like living in a hole in a hovel somewhere with a dog, and you have like no friends, no family, no mate, and you're pretty much poor and broke, and you have to watch me every day come on here and do whatever it is that I want to do and talk about, and have folks watch me and enjoy whatever I'm doing and even contribute value. It probably burns you up inside, right? I mean, do you have to make your problems and issues mine consistently? All the folks like you. Like, I'm here for you. I'm here with you. You can talk to me. We can reconcile and resolve, or you can just sit in your feelers and act like a bitch and hate on me and continue to choose your own suffering. It really doesn't bother me none. I mean, you're really of little to no consequence to me and what I do. I'm really only giving you the attention that you're begging for because apparently you need something from or with me. Whenever you're ready, champ, right? Step on up to the plate. Do what you need to do as a man. You're the antithesis of what I'm talking about here: rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith. So it makes sense why you're angry and hating, because you don't live or embody any of that. And you hate yourself and you hate your land, and you're not going to be a change maker. So you'd have to hate on me for being that on some level. They always have to hate on what they fail to become in order to try to equalize with it. It doesn't validate it, right? It doesn't make it true and real for you. It just kind of embarrasses you.
Traffic checking operations, roving patrols, temporary checkpoints, and permanently located checkpoints. We are concerned today with the operation of two permanent checkpoints, one located on a principal highway in California and the other on an important highway in Texas. The defendants in these cases were stopped for questioning, and aliens were found in both vehicles.
He didn't turn into one. He always was one. He just showed
presented
himself.
is whether the Fourth Amendment prohibition against searches and seizures was violated by routine checkpoint stops of vehicles on a public highway for the questioning of occupants. These stops are made where there is neither probable cause nor any reasonable suspicion in a legal sense for believing the vehicles contain illegal aliens. At the San Clemente checkpoint, involved in one of these cases, during an 8-day period in 1974, 146,000 vehicles passed the checkpoint.
All right, I'm moving on. I want to see the damn interaction. Let's go here, people.
Thank you, Mr. Justice Powell. are you guys?
Doing well.
Mind just going on the bus with me?
I do mind.
You working down here?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Done for work for the day? Alrighty. Both you citizens?
Yes.
You're a citizen, sir?
I don't answer questions.
You actually do have to answer if you're.
I actually don't have to answer any goddamn questions because I have a Fifth Amendment right not to answer any fucking questions.
Federal immigration checkpoint. Yes, you do have to answer
Right.
if you're a U.S. citizen.
And we're 100 miles away from the fucking border.
No, you're not.
I have not.
You are not. You're
Well, I am within the United States. I have a Fifth Amendment right not to answer any fucking questions without a fucking lawyer present. I'm invoking my Sixth Amendment right. Do whatever the fuck you got to do.
This is a federal.
I have no statements to make, and I'm not answering any fucking questions.
You do have to answer. If you're
I don't have to answer a goddamn thing. Fifth Amendment.
Yes, you do. Actually.
I don't have to answer
You can
any
read that
fucking
sign
thing.
right there. You do have to answer if you're a U.S. citizen.
I don't have to answer a goddamn
All
thing.
right, then you can park right up there. You
We don't have to park right up there. We'd like to be free to go on about our way.
Federal immigration inspection. You
I understand that. And I have a federal Fifth Amendment right to fucking remain silent, bitch. I don't answer questions. Leave me the fuck alone. What the fuck do you want?
Yes or no?
I don't answer questions. Kick fucking rocks. Get a fucking warrant. This is being videoed.
That's fine. You can read the sign right there.
I don't need to fucking read the sign. I've read the law. I've read the Constitution.
Yes.
We're also in Texas. We're also in Texas. And I don't have to fucking ID unless I'm under arrest. So kick fucking rocks, bitch.
You're within 100 miles.
Fuck you.
All right, then park right up there.
Not gonna park up there.
Then we can call the.
Call whoever the fuck you want.
You're impeding traffic right now.
No, you're impeding traffic. We'd like to be free about it to go on our way. You're the one who is stopping us here. You're stopping us here.
Disrespect this. This is a U.S. border.
You don't need to disrespect me.
And I am attempting to conduct an immigration inspection under Section 287(a)(3) of the Immigration Nationality Act.
And I'm invoking my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Fuck off.
In the United States versus Martinez Fuerte, 1976, that the U.S. Border Patrol has the authority to set up permanent or fixed checkpoints.
Yes.
On public highways.
Yes. You are allowed to set up your checkpoints. I am not required.
And that these checkpoints are not a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Do you understand that?
I didn't say it was a violation of the Fourth Amendment. I'm invoking my Fifth Amendment right.
Inspection to allow us to complete the immigration inspection.
Complete your inspection.
If you do not move your vehicle, you can be arrested under Title 18.
Does that mean we're free to go? Does that mean we're free to go?
For this federal crime can be up to 1 year.
I need the names. I need the names and badge numbers of every agent present right here, right now. And I'll be FOIAing that camera's footage.
So you're not willing to move?
Oh, we're absolutely willing to move. Are you going to let us be free to go about our way?
No, not yet.
Okay, then we're going to sit here. Fifth Amendment.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Fifth Amendment.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Who are you asking? Me or
Both
him?
of y'all.
I am, yes.
You're a U.S. citizen. Are you a U.S. citizen?
I don't answer questions.
Anybody else in the back?
No.
No.
As a driver, are you willing to move your vehicle? As long as I'm free to continue in my travel. You're not free to go until he answers the question, the immigration question.
Fifth Amendment.
Okay, so
I have not crossed the U.S. border. I don't have to answer that question. I have a Fifth Amendment right, and I'm specifically invoking my Sixth Amendment right to be free from questioning without a lawyer. Sixth Amendment has been invoked. Do not ask any more questions. Sixth Amendment.
Am I showing the vehicle off, sir?
You don't have to.
Then we're gonna have to take y'all out. You're not willing to move your
It's
vehicle.
company vehicle traffic. I got it.
We have to do the immigration inspection.
We have to do it.
You're welcome to fucking inspect.
And then
Are
part of
you
the
a United States
inspection
citizen?
is the immigration aspect.
Sixth Amendment.
We just need to know if you're a United
Sixth
States citizen. That's all we need to know.
Sixth Amendment Do you have reason to believe that I am not a United States citizen?
The question, sir, if you're a United States citizen, you're free to go.
Do you have reason to believe that I am not a United States citizen?
Sure, you mind stepping out?
Do what you got to do. I don't care. I know. Do whatever you got to do. Don't reach in the vehicle. That's a Fourth Amendment violation.
Can you shut the vehicle off, sir?
Don't fucking put your hands on him. Don't fucking put your hands on him. You fucking pieces of shit. Don't fucking put your hands on him. Fucking guns drawn. You fucking pieces of shit.
Good afternoon, sir. U.S. Border Patrol. Would you please move yourself from the vehicle, sir? Otherwise, you will be forcibly removed. Thank you, sir.
Don't fucking touch me.
Please do me fair.
I do not consent to any searches or seizures.
Stand for it, sir. Put your hands on the vehicle for me.
I will not.
Okay, sir. You need to comply at this moment, otherwise you'll be forced to comply.
What crime am I being detained for?
Martinez Fuerte, case law 2428, sir, states that any vehicle at 100 nautical miles will be inspected for.
Keep your goddamn hands off of my brother. What the fuck is wrong with you? I do not need to keep my hands out of my pockets. There is no law that says that I am required to keep my hands out of my fucking pockets.
Let's calm down, all right? We don't want any problems.
I don't want any fucking problems. Keep your goddamn hands off me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. That's assault.
It's not assault.
It is assault. Any unwanted touching is assault. I do not want to be touched by you or any of your fucking officers. Why are you pointing a fucking taser at me? Do I appear to be fucking armed? My hands in my pockets so that I'm not a threat.
I don't know what's in your pocket. That's what the problem is.
Keep your fucking hands off me. Why are you touching me? Why the fuck are you touching me? Why are you fucking touching me? Why are you fucking touching me?
All right, folks, here are my final thoughts, which are actually more questions than thoughts. In United States v. Martinez Fuerte, the opinion is that your Fourth Amendment rights aren't violated during the questioning of the vehicle's occupants at a routine fixed checkpoint near the Mexican border. I couldn't find anything that stated the people actually have to state whether they are an American citizen or not. So is it a minor inconvenience to give up your Fifth Amendment right as well? What's next? Will they restrict the First Amendment along with the rest of the Constitution, as long as it's considered a minor inconvenience? The Rodney King beating was a huge reminder that police need to be recorded. Then years later, we began seeing videos regarding checkpoint ID refusals. Then cop watching became a thing. All of a sudden, First Amendment auditing exploded and spread like wildfire, bringing freedom-loving people together from all walks of life. Not only in America where it originated, but also in the UK and Canada as well as other countries.
Timmy, do you have anything? Because I got a couple videos. I don't know if this is one of them, but this is a checkpoint refusal from about 10 years ago. And it kind of shows the progression or the regression, where there seemed to be at one point this kind of generalized understanding that there was still a common law of the land, how the Constitution applies. And you can argue that the more we go deeper into this, the less that's even on the table, right? You're going to do what they say. You're going to get out there. If not, they're going to quote someone else's literature, someone's code writing as a example for their righteousness to do what they do. Do you have anything before we go to that video? Because I'd like to show the differences. If it's the one I believe it is, I'm not going to know till we roll the dice here.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, first of all, we got to get folks need to get back to the basics if they're going to do this. Like, they need to understand that the basics. This guy's, we're looping, right? He's being belligerent right away. Now, some folks may say, he has the right to say, fuck you, pig, and do all this shit. I don't do that if because it's just, that's not going to get anywhere. I already kind of know what their position is and how they're feeling about any situation, any pushback from them. So I'm going to attempt to maintain honor at all times. I just entered across the line of the country, and I just told her right away. I said, look, miss, I see you got all these folks are giving you biometrics right away. I'm not interested in that. I'm not consenting to give you anything like that. She said, oh, really? Okay. And then that was it. She was like, okay, see you later. because I wasn't like, I'm not giving you these biometrics, you bitch, you a slave driver. Like, I just said, I'm not giving these to you, and I'm just going to be on my way. She said, okay, have a nice day, right? So folks need to understand that the other side needs to provide evidence that you're doing a crime. You don't have to prove shit. So, like, that gentleman, if has valid claims as an American, however you want to define that, non-citizen, national, whatever, they have to prove that. So let them make their mistakes and then figure out how to press the claim, right? And press the claim starts from the second the interaction begins. You're getting them on.
Oh yeah, that's the other side of the dynamic, right? And it's good that you pointed that out, because not only are these folks in costume just more and more unwavering in this belief that the code and policy is the law, but men and women are getting more and more frustrated to the point where they're acting out when addressing them and interacting with them. And it's kind of creating the perfect storm to make sure that this doesn't end well for the individual or the collective. So I definitely agree with you. Stay as calm as possible. You don't have to be animated and excitable to be unwavering in the truth. And it's probably better to yield than to become animated and activated beyond what's necessary. So let's watch this one real quick, and then I think I'm going to wrap it up shortly.
All right, brother.
Department of Homeland Security, unconstitutional border checkpoint. Looks like that's what we have here. I didn't realize there was one way out here. That's strange. Not even close to the border.
I think we're within the 100 miles, sadly.
Nonsense.
Didn't think there was one here either. They must have just put it in.
I don't know.
Daddy locked the door, don't
I
worry.
don't remember if it was here last time or not.
I don't think it was.
Excuse me.
Cry, baby.
You still recording?
Yep, we're still recording.
Make sure we got a backup in case it stops.
Okay.
Set this to video mode.
Okay. And just set it down in your lap. Cyrus, you're gonna have to wait, baby.
Got a guy on a computer here.
Yeah. Waste of money.
Now, most of us weren't around in Nazi Germany, but what we see here in America these days is these checkpoints where they just stop us at the border, ask questions, and pressure us. They violate the Constitution by demanding that we answer questions, and the real question is, am I being detained?
Yes.
On what grounds am I being detained?
Constitution.
The Constitution. I'm being detained. Come here. This is C. Castine. I'm being detained on grounds of the Constitution. That's a new one on me, actually. So they're stopping us for no apparent reason. We're just traveling the highway as U.S. citizens. And here we are cruising along. This guy is so out of touch with the law that he says I'm being stopped and detained on the grounds of the Constitution. This is we are.
He's getting a video camera now.
Excellent, excellent.
Great.
So
more video cameras are better.
We're being stopped because of the Constitution. Just bear with us here. We're going to see how this develops. Here's a second camera. Make sure this is handy in case we need it. In fact, let's pull the GoPro down too.
Well, I can only hold 2 cameras at once.
You can use that one as well. I'm just going to put this right here.
Okay.
Just so we have a secondary.
Okay.
And look, he's got a camera too. You got a camera too. What is it? What brand is it? Am I being detained?
Yes.
On what grounds? On what grounds am I being detained? Answer the question. What? So they're currently illegally detaining me and my family, not anywhere near to the border, and they won't let us go. We'll see what happens.
Pull forward, your tire's going to flatten.
They say if we pull forward, our tires are going to flatten.
Huh.
How?
Because they're being buttheads.
We have 3 kids in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Each keeper, each 100.
Huh?
Say it.
Let's go ahead and roll the one.
You have any ID?
Am I being detained?
You have an ID. Am I being detained? You good? Okay, have a good day. Oh, no. Wait. Because if you ruin my tires, you're paying for them. Yeah, we will. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Next time you violate our constitutional rights. Have a good day. Look at that. I didn't answer any questions. Guess what? They do nothing. I will. We're telling you to move now. Now you're stopping my traffic. You stopped my traffic illegally. Thank you. Go ahead. Have a good day. I will move at my pace. You have a good one.
Is that a camera?
So yes, I was a little pushy, but I've had it. Here's the thing. What this proves is what I was wondering. I don't have to answer any other questions. I didn't tell him I was a U.S. citizen. I didn't give him my ID. I didn't pull forward or allow them to do anything like that. They were very belligerent, but in a calm way. I mean, they were clearly not liking what I was doing, and yet here we are. We are still recording, right? Yeah. Roll out the window. The audio is probably not very good, but at least we have decent light. So here's this unconstitutional checkpoint. I was stopped, and they told me I was being detained on grounds of the Constitution. Last time I checked, that wasn't grounds for detainment in the United States. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe we have a new Constitution now, but here I am with my family in the super camper, and we're moving down the road. One more checkpoint behind us. What this tells me is I no longer answer any of their questions, because I wondered if, for some strange loophole, if I didn't tell them if I was a U.S. citizen, if they could arrest me. I didn't know what would happen today. They didn't. And
Timmy, I got folks who come here and they ask, do you give your contact info out? And scrolling across the screen in big yellow and black letters is my email, which is a form of contact information, technically. That's where I wish to be contacted. So yes, I do, sir. Please direct your attention to the bottom of the screen. It is scrolling right there right now. conscious.is.rising@gmail.com. Thoughts on that, Timmy?
Thank you, sir. I didn't know where to look. I needed to be told.
Oh, don't do that. Are you doing? Is that him? Are you doing him now? Are you imagining what he sounds like, and then you're doing him? That's That's why I'm unpopular. That's why people don't like me here. You're insulting the audience member.
I'm unable to look around for a few seconds before just typing into the back. Why not? There's a whole bunch of other shit in there.
Timmy, he's one of those students who in school always used to lose 5 or 10 points for not reading the directions or putting his name on the paper or the date. He didn't look at the whole screen. He kind of went right to the video, right to me. He didn't look at the directions and he didn't put his name there. 5 points off.
But I had time to find the little alien emoji. That was real important.
Well, that was cute. I did like that. It's creative.
I got your attention.
Timmy, please. You're not helping. You're being mean. You're being rude and mean to the audience.
Oops.
All right, man. I got a stack of breaking slave news I never get to anymore. Who gives a fuck, huh? Oh, we never got to. There's so much here. There's so much to be done. Nothing is left undone. I guess we'll close out with this. We got arrested and jailed. The latest updates. Mr. DeCastro. We'll watch it together. I haven't heard it yet, but they informed me that it's pretty good, I guess. So let's get to that. Wait, so what is that? Is that your condition acting up? Or are you making some kind of noise to kind of like disregard what I'm saying?
No, I'm interested.
Oh, okay.
You know, I think that's where the sentence came.
Yeah, this is your guy.
Because the DA wasn't looking for a harsh sentence.
That's your guy.
I think he
My
could
boy.
Attorney
guy. Attorney guy.
But he would have,
attorney rights guy. He's got the suit. He's got the dead-eyed look.
And,
the hair's in place.
That he likes,
and he knows something about court. He knows something about being a man. He knows something about life. He's telling you right now.
Well, now
breaking down the DeCastro saga.
I think. I mean, I don't know. Not her. And then she sees.
He doesn't know because he's not the woman. He's not a woman.
So in her minds now, she's kind of.
Hold on. This is where this is a bit that I've perfected now, and I'm gonna move it back, and then I'm gonna take the sound off. Timmy, go ahead and just speak as this beta male who it presents as if they've arrived and know something and they're in the position of power to explain it to us, while admitting, like Biden's top economic advisor, that they don't really know anything because they're not the woman on the bench. So if he's not her, he can't break down actually or explain what the fuck's actually going on and why. Because, you know, we're just doing a job here, all right? But we've arrived. We know what we're talking about, but we don't. But we do. But we don't. Go ahead.
Yeah. So here's what happened. You know, you weren't complying good enough. You should always comply. You should comply. And then just immediately call me, and my rate's $800 an hour. So just get that in there. You got to pay up front, and I don't really know how all of this works, but I'm going to do my best. There's no guarantees that anything I do will actually get you an result. Because it's hard. I don't really know how all this works, but I just kind of sometimes know, and I just spend all day. Our whole office is just hundreds of people that are just reading the codes constantly and all the case studies, and then all
right, hold on. No, that was great, Tim. It was like I was really there. It was like the same countenance, just kind of beaten man, giving up, dead-eyed, shifty-eyed, looking around the room, just kind of talking like half bullshit, half truth that you've been taught by someone else that you don't respect. It was like we were really there.
Yeah.
Basically confirming the judge's suspicions that he likes these interactions and just trying to basically have at it with the cops, and he hates all police. Well, now, she looks at this as willfulness, I think. I mean, I don't know. I'm not her. And then she sees what he did in the courtroom to her own staff, who are police. So in her minds, now she's kind of dropping the hammer. Not much his defense lawyer can do about something like that.
So here's what you have to understand. If we lose this hearing on April 10th, then I'll be in here until July. And there's nothing I can do about it, because there's two options. There is a writ of habeas corpus for ineffective counsel, and that takes 4 months. And there's also an appeal to the Nevada State Supreme Court, which also takes about 4 months, and I've been in here almost a month now. With good time, I'm supposed to get out of here.
Timmy, did he say April 10th?
The release date.
I don't know, Chad. What did he say? I was typing.
You say April or May 10th? Because this might have been an old one. He's doing a breakdown. I thought I saw commissary in here somewhere. They had like a bag of chips or something. I wanted to get to that. Damn it. You guys are lying on headlines. It says arrested in jail, DeCastro, full story and latest updates. Where's the damn updates, man? You guys are just telling us what we already know? Come on. They clickbaited a content creator.
We have identified a dozen cases that went back to a bench trial. A bench trial means that Judge Zimmerman is the judge, jury, and executioner. And so far, we have 3 exact cases that are the same as my charges, the same NRS codes. In the past year, this judge has given these 3 defendants impulse training classes, and then the misdemeanor would fall off their record. The data will show her consistency and that she broke her principles, putting me in jail. Judge Ann Zimmerman, release me from this jail at once, please.
49-year-old Jose DeCastro was sentenced to 6 months by Justice.
Yeah, what the hell, man? We've already seen all this. You son of a bitch. This is why I don't trust attorneys. Comes on here to run this channel for DeCastro and then acts like they're going to give us updates and just tells us what we already know. Come on, man. Do better.
Oh, another funny thing old DeCastro said is Mr. Zimmerman, and I'll do his voice. Mr. Zimmerman, I demand you take me out of here, this jail, immediately.
Hold on, I got to do the right setting.
Please.
Hold on, let me give you the right setting for your speech.
Proud to be an American slave.
that was it. Go ahead, Timmy.
Mr. Mrs. Zimmerman, I demand you to release me from this prison. Please?
Please? Oh, man, we ain't right. They're
He
gonna
just
180
did that.
my ass,
He just
and then
made a
there's gonna be
demand.
like a few thousand people laughing and giggling at me and playing fucking rap music.
Well, he made a
Going, here's
demand.
Paulie at the jail. Then they put on finesse 2 times.
Yeah. Well, he just made a fucking demand and then said please at the end. Double-minded slave.
Yeah, but he was actually doing that, right?
Yeah.
He's actually giving speeches over the jail phone and then having his team insert like patriotic melodies to give it like more gravitas.
Yeah.
Give it more give it more credibility. Here you go. Go ahead. You got Tim A. DeCastro, activist and scholar.
Mrs. Zimmerman, you've had so many good men and women and U.S. citizens using the code into these jails, and they didn't deserve it. Even though they signed all the paperwork and all of that stuff, and were innerly convicted. Don't get us started on that they were internally convicted, spiritually convicted, mentally convicted. You know, they had no father, or mamas. So you're playing both roles. Thank you. You know, and oh, this water is so dirty. They don't give us good water. I'm like Nelson Mandela. You know, he was in jail for like 28 years.
I'm like Montesquieu. Who is he quoting again?
Nelson Mandela.
No, he's quoting Robespierre or something like that. I forget who he's.
The French hero, Robespierre, and his head definitely got chopped
like
off.
Montesquieu said.
Yeah.
I quote.
So I think that my head is going to be chopped soon if I'm not let out here, and I demand you release me, please.
Please. Please.
I remember it differently. I think there's this chili effect happening.
He's demanding from the jail phone that the administrator release him. And asking, please. I demand you release me from the jail phone, please. His reasoning was jail was uncomfortable.
I have to watch
Please,
another
sir,
man
more
shit.
beans.
Someone has to shit about 2 yards away from me, and I have to hear the sounds of him shitting. It's just cruel and unusual punishment.
And it smells bad too.
My virgin ears. I've never heard shitting sounds before.
All right, Timmy, that's enough. All right. I'm not wishing jail on anybody. Nobody likes it when we go there. It's just, you got to find the humor in these interactions.
Yes. Agreed.
What do you got going on, Lou Bass? I'm wrapping up here. What do you got?
I know. I just wanted to hear Timmy tell us about how he got through the airport again.
I mean,
What
there's no story. That's the thing. It's just like, hello, I'm not going to be a slave today.
Oh, I think he's mocking you. Like,
Did you
he's
say
trying to
those
say,
exact
like,
words?
he's trying to say like you only have one story and you keep telling it over and over. He wants to hear it again. It's like a bedtime story for
No,
him.
he's not
Puts him at
mocking me.
ease.
No, he's just slow. You mocking me, you fucking old fat Italian?
Yeah, he is. I know his game.
You're the worst.
You didn't even pick up on that, huh? He was pretty good at
I've
how he
heard the
delivered
story.
that.
It just happened this morning. I've heard it like
He's a good
32
bullshitter.
times.
What,
I heard
me?
it
Go ahead,
32
Timmy.
times
Tell the
since
story
this
again.
morning. What the fuck?
At the airport.
Can we hear it one more time?
Well, I was traveling into the United States of America as a non-citizen national, and I was just staunchly telling the woman there in the costume, Miss, I am not a slave. I am a man. Here's my real credential, my claim. It backs my claim here that I am a national. Yes. And then she started asking me questions, and I said, Miss, I do not have to answer any of your questions. That is a fact of law. I am not one of your slaves.
All right, now you're going to give your identification?
Yes.
All right, well, there you go.
Yes.
See, that was easy. You did all that, and we got the identification anyway, and now we're going to write up the paperwork. Thank you for cooperation.
Yes. That's all. And then
Who are you going to vote for? While I write up the paperwork, can we talk about politics? Like, who are you going to vote for? I'm voting for
Chili.
Trump. I'm in uniform.
Chili for president.
I'm gonna vote for Mr. Leibowitz. You guys don't know who that guy is. You know, write his name in.
I suspect this is really how Timmy talks. He falls into it
Hello,
too easily.
Mrs. Officer.
This is the real Timmy.
You guys are assholes.
Hey, have you already heard? I haven't put it out, but I do have a video of me getting a speeding ticket the other day.
Oh, here we go.
Did you fold?
I didn't want to. Yeah, I folded immediately without even asking a question. I folded.
Yeah, where is it
But
at? I
did
want to watch you. I want to watch you act like a pathetic slave.
It'll be too much ammunition for the other fucking scumbags like.
Oh, you loved it. That's why you mentioned it. You didn't have to mention it. You know you need the whipping and the beating.
Listen,
you need
I've
it.
been fucking holding back, motherfucker. Okay.
Where's the video, Lou? You brought it up because you want us to see it and make fun of you. Or how pathetic you are.
Of course I do. Of course
I know you do. So where is it?
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna give it to you. Not today.
JulianaBastone.com.
Yes, Julia. YouTube.com. No, it's
YouTube.com.
fucking
He gets
embarrassing.
the link wrong every time.
It's embarrassing.
Wait, let's just do it here. We can just do it. Like, we don't even need to play the clip.
You really want to do it now?
Hi,
It's
ma'am.
long.
How are you? Okay, great. License, registration, and butthole. Oh, sure. how far spread open would you like, miss?
Listen,
all the way?
Right,
What are you going to put up there? A tennis ball? Oh, your fist. You're a very rather large woman. Oh, my.
Listen, man. I feel already fucked up enough about it.
Where's the video, Lou? Let's go.
I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll give it to you tomorrow. Today,
Oh, we're doing it now, and then we're going to look at it again
and then I was so
tomorrow.
embarrassed I had to make it private. Oh my god.
Come on, man.
It's embarrassing.
I'm going to forget by tomorrow.
really
Give it to
is
me now.
embarrassing.
We'll watch it now. And then we'll watch
I did
it again
everything.
tomorrow.
Okay, I'm going to just tell you this. I did everything in my power to get him to do what's right.
I don't care about your bullshit excuses. Give me the damn fucking video link. Let's go.
I don't know if I can. It's all blocked.
Yes, you can. You could give it to me if it's on private. Whoever you give the link to can view it.
You have to make
Try
it
to
unlisted.
trick me.
No, you have to make it unlisted first.
He can pull it up on his end. He can put share
yeah.
screen.
True. But Lou's a little retarded, right?
Yeah, he
Where?
is.
Okay, hold
A
on.
little.
Fuck off. I'm not used to this shit.
How to
Fucking
W.
Where do I do share screen? It's a fucking
Oh, here we go.
Settings? Settings.
270.
Camera.
The Canadian lady.
Usually, the mentally retarded are divided into classifications.
Oh.
The trainable and the custodial.
On how the fuck do I do this? Help
The
me out here.
educable with IQs from 50 to 70 can usually profit from academic training. They can, for example, learn to read and write. The trainable retarded with IQs from 25 to 50 usually are not capable of learning much in the way of academic material, even in special schools. However, they can be taught most of the
There you go.
activities of daily living, including the care of personal toilet and
More
hygiene.
video.
Learning to dress and undress themselves is something most mentally retarded children can do. Even the more difficult dressing activities, such as tying a bow knot in a shoelace.
On your left here, we have the Italian retard.
Hold on.
Come on,
maybe I can do
Lucy.
it on
Here
my
you
phone.
go again, trying to like be seen and do goofy shit and try to be cute and clever. Leave the funny to me and pull the damn video up.
I'm trying to fucking unlist it, motherfucker. Give me a
You're
second.
like the custodial retarded. You can't be trained or educated. You can only be like possessed and maintained.
Bro, I didn't even go to grade 7. Give me a break.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
tell.
And even when I was in grade 7, I didn't fucking read anything.
We know.
I went to the park and played stink finger and smoked weed. Fried my brain.
Okay, go to the YouTube app, old man. Then go to my
How do I
channel.
unlist?
Okay.
Video.
Imagine the priest that played Stinkfinger with him. What a
Ooh.
desperate guy.
Yikes. Poor guy had to deal with Lou.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how.
That's when you're like bottom of the rung of pedophiles, when you're hitting on Fat Lou as a child.
Share
All the
video.
other children you got available, you're hitting on him.
Share video. Okay, set to unlisted. Go fuck yourself. You want to see it? It's embarrassing. I don't give a fuck.
Let's go.
I'm gonna go to my channel. Go to my channel and just fucking
He
pull
acts
it up.
like I
don't
know
how to
what
send
that
it to
is,
you,
what his
motherfucker.
channel is. Go to my channel. What's the name of it?
Well, whatever I use, it's just Lubas. That's it.
Maron.
Lubass 9814.
No, that's not what it says here. Lubas.
Yeah, here we go.
875. You got it?
There it is. 41 subscribers.
Okay, but before you fucking play this,
God. Fucking proviso.
I'm gonna give you the. I'm gonna give a proviso, motherfucker. Yes, I am.
All right, 30
Number
seconds,
one.
Slave. Go.
Oh, fuck you. I'll give it whatever. When you want to shut me up, then turn me off. Number one,
Okay.
I kept my entire family from getting the jibbity jubbity. How many did you
here
keep
we
from
go.
getting the jibbity jubbity? Number
Here we
two,
go.
I haven't played the income tax in almost 20 years now. Right? So there's other things, but I'll just go with those two. Show the fucking video. It is what
This
it
must
is.
be
It's pretty
really
long,
bad. It must be really bad because
He's listing his whole lifetime.
He's giving his resume.
I don't give a fuck what you say.
This
I know
one
what I've
time,
stood up
this
for.
one time at slave camp, I wasn't a slave then.
Let me not bring up all the work that I've done with various organizations behind the scene.
Yes.
It's a little bit
I
of a
fucking
speeding
built
ticket
the rehab.
interaction.
That's another one. And fucking it's still running. It's still running today. Okay? With my
I mean, I
programs
get
that
my
set in
time
place
as
that
a
I still
butcher for the
haven't-
Lucchese's.
Yeah, no, I butcher for myself.
It must be real
I'm
bad.
not a hypocrite like you. Get other people to butcher for you.
What'd you do, Lou? Did you blow the officer?
I can't see the
Did you
fucking
fucking
thing.
blow him on the side of the road? What'd you do? You're really upset right now and
Yeah.
afraid to have this video seen.
Just a little bit.
And he
He
recorded
said only the
blow.
tip. So
Yes, officer.
I sucked only the tip. How the fuck do you go back to Manachila America?
Lou was like Little Wayne on the side of the road, Mrs. Officer.
Okay. All right. Did you find it? Bro,
It's
I
not
can't
there,
figure
Lou.
all this StreamYard shit. It's too much. On my channel, Lubas. You don't see it? It's unlisted right now. Bro, it's unlisted. I don't know what to tell you.
That means it's unlisted. You fucking slave. You illiterate.
No,
cunt.
sorry. It said shit, not unlisted. It's listed. It's fucking set to not set to private anymore.
Dude, unlisted means fucking unlisted. You fucking moron.
It's
That means we can't fucking see it. You fucking wop.
Listen, scumbag.
You got to put it on public.
You idiot.
I put it on public, for fuck's sakes. Oh, how do I go back now? You all.
Numbers dropping.
Ah, fuck.
I don't have them here.
Then leave. Your videos.
Cells dropping.
I'm going to that video. Hold on. Now,
Thumbs down happening.
save to play with list. It says share video. Oh, okay. That's not. All right. That's different. Hold on.
Oh my god.
Edit, advanced settings, studio, save.
What is the current status of the video? Public, private, or unlisted?
Where the fuck do you see that?
They can usually be taught.
I don't fucking see where it says that.
You just said you just changed it to something.
Patience is
Go
the
back
key
to that.
Yeah.
successful teaching.
I hit
Just as
the little
persistence and
3 buttons on the
repetition of
side. It
effort
says
are
save
the
the
keys to
playlist,
successful
share
learning.
video. Okay, I'm gonna email it to you. How's that?
Oh my god.
They
Can I
learn
send
to
you
feed
this in the
themselves,
mail?
and they can be taught to avoid the common hazards of
All
normal daily
Unslaved.
living.
Consciousness rising. Can I send it to that
It's
email?
gonna take you 5 minutes to fucking tap your
Okay.
fat fingers.
Fuck off.
His
It's
email
sent.
address.
Shut up. Yeah, my fingers are fat. Nothing I can do. Sometimes I hit 2 buttons at once.
Would you fucking hurry up? We're here all fucking day for this.
Okay, I sent it to you, Paul.
Holy shit, that was fast.
Commence the fucking roast.
Clemenza, can you just do your
Commence the
role
roast.
and just like just stick with that role?
What role is my role, Timmy? What's my role, Timmy?
You know your role.
You got it or what?
Clemenza's.
Oh, see?
All right, here we go. I don't hear anything.
This was literally in front of my door. I had every opportunity to not give him my license, and I just automatically folded. I don't know why. I didn't
Does
register
the whole
my
interaction
truck.
go like this? Did you really
No.
just send me an interaction where you don't talk to anyone?
No, you'll see it in a second, but it goes on too long. Go, just go. You'll see it. It gets better. I mean, more clear. You see the cop. I pick up the phone. I do the whole thing.
Right? Just so you're
The poor
aware.
guy was a nice guy too.
I
He
don't
was
wanna
the
make you
perfect
feel
cop
bad.
to
I
do
just
it
want you
with.
to know the reality of the world, right? You're not doing good. You're on the part of the bad people, right? See, that is the face of the bad people, right? The Nazis believed they were doing good when they were trying to save Germany. You believe you're keeping us safe by stealing our money. You're not, my brother. You are bringing tyranny onto your children, your grandchildren, your future grandchildren, everybody in your life. Your mother, your son, your brother, everyone. Just for you to know, you look like a good man. You have a soul. What you're doing is taking your soul away from yourself. Right? You just want my money. You work for a corporation. You don't work for Canada. There's no such thing as the country of Canada. You know that, right? You know that we live in a corporation. We live under the tyranny of a corporation called Canada, supposed to be a free country. You're going to take my money for nothing. I've harmed no man. Okay. Harmed no man. Even if I was going 200 kilometers on that road.
But you realize that can be dangerous.
Yeah, but you understand that even if I was going 200 kilometers an hour,
Yeah.
was I harming anybody? Did I harm anybody? I don't agree with going 200 kilometers an hour. I don't agree with it.
I didn't say you were going 200 kilometers.
I don't agree with driving drunk.
Okay.
I don't.
I agree with you.
Right? I think it's wrong.
Yeah.
Ella, go. I believe it's wrong to drive drunk.
Okay.
I believe it's wrong to drive recklessly.
Yeah.
I believe it's wrong to harm your fellow man.
Yeah.
I've harmed no one, even at 100 and whatever you say I was going. I don't believe it, but your radar is your radar. Coming down that road, even at that speed, I harm no one. This is my road I come down every day.
I understand that. But
Yeah.
there was nobody on the road today.
Yeah.
If there was somebody on the road
Right.
and you were doing 103, you would have done a lot of damage, right? That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say.
And if my mother had a penis, she'd be my father. But she doesn't. She has a vagina. Therefore, she's my mother. So reality is always going to be reality. And I'm going to give you my information, and you can do what you need to do. I get that we live under the tyranny of law. This is no longer law. We live under the legal society, not a lawful society. We live under a corporation of Canada. Do you know what Canada is? When you came to Canada, or your father or your mother came here, they came here to be more free, I would imagine. Is that correct? If you're busy and you don't want to talk to me, I'll just give you my stuff and we can go on our way. All right? That's fine. Are you too busy right now?
Well,
Do you have other customers to deal with?
I don't want to keep you from anything.
Yeah, no, you're not keeping
I
me.
just wanted to have a
I want to get it on record.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I want you to know that you're not on the side of the good team.
Okay.
You're on the side of the corporation that is taking control of your life, your mother's life, your father's life, and your children's life.
Okay.
Right? And you are now the exact people that were doing what they were doing in Germany. You are them. You even look like them. Do you see how you guys look? Have you ever looked at a police fucking, excuse my language, I don't mean to be rude. I'm a little excited, but I'm not angry. You know, I'm more afraid. I'm more afraid because here you are standing on my land that I was born in with a gun on your hip, which I should be allowed to have. But the corporation says, no, you're supposed to have it. I should be as armed as you. You have a gun, you have a taser, you have all this equipment, right? But yet you're on the side of evil that you don't even know. I know you don't care at this point.
No, it's not that I don't care.
I know it's a good job. I know you're looking at your future pension. I get it.
Yeah.
But I would suggest to you to look into the reality of what this world is. This world is not what it seems to be. And good men like you should find that out.
I appreciate that.
Right? Good men like you, good men like me, I've harmed nobody in my life. Only myself in my younger years. Right? But here you are, believing you're the side of good, because I came down my road for what you say was a little bit fast, and you want to steal my money. And it is theft. There is no other way to call it. Taking a man's money when he's harmed no one is theft. You can have as much cognitive dissonance in your mind. You can lie to yourself. But when you lay down in your bed and you close your eyes, you cannot see anything but the truth. And God is watching you every moment, my brother. Every moment. My suggestion to you, leave.
I was channeling Joe Biden.
Be
right
a
there.
farmer. Be a producer, not a thief. Be a giver, not a taker. Your father and your mother think you're doing well, but you're securing their slavery. You're securing theirs. Here's my stuff. Here's my stuff. Go ahead. Do your worst. There's my shit.
You got your ownership and insurance?
No, I don't know. It's my mother's car. So I'll see if I can find it. It's hard to control my fucking soul looking at these people. Very hard.
It's fucking embarrassing, really.
Thing's got the policy number and all that on it. What's your name, sir?
My name's Vinny.
Vinny?
Vinny, yeah.
What's your last name?
It's Amalaraja. It's a long one.
Amalura?
Amalaraja.
Amalaraja. Where are you originally from?
I'm from Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Yes. A wonderful place that has been taken down by the same people that are taking this country down. Mark my words, you are part of your future progeny being in a worse situation than what your countrymen are involved in right now. As they gave their sovereignty to their leaders. And they didn't keep it themselves. And they went along to get along. They did these jobs believing they were doing good, and they were the evil running on the world. They were the evil, like you are now.
I need your insurance card as well.
It's on here.
That's your ownership?
And it's on here, look.
Is that a photo?
Policy number. All of that. You can probably run that.
I can't run policies if you don't have a pin code.
Okay, let me see what I can find.
Yeah, I did everything in my power to make him stand up for what's right, but I wasn't doing it myself. That's why I'm so fucking pissed at myself.
None of this, by the way, what you have in your hand is legal. I mean, sorry, lawful. None of this. You realize that, right? See that vehicle, whether it's mine, my mother's, or Joe Blow's. It's paid for. I didn't steal it. It's my property. It is my property. Do I not have the right to travel freely on
Are
the
there
roads
plates
of
on
the
it, Lou?
public, the free people, and take my property with me? Even if
Yeah,
I'm
it's actually my mother's van.
Okay. There's plates.
We're
Okay.
pushing it along with a horse.
Yeah,
Why
there's
not
plates, yeah.
have that right?
I had my mother's van, and I was. Anyways, whatever.
Right?
Yeah.
You have the right to drive your car.
But yet you believe I don't, because you're asking me for all of this. So you believe that I must pay a tax, I must pay a fee, I must pay a permit to travel freely on my own roads. I know that's the way the system is designed.
So it's not what I believe, right?
Well, it is what you believe, because you're taking it from me and you're going to charge me a fee for it. This is a contract we're doing. You understand? You're doing a contract, not for Canada, for the corporation called Canada. I don't trust me, my brother. I'm a 61-year-old man, and I've done what I'm supposed to do, what I thought I was supposed to do my whole life. And I've come to the point to understand we are going deeper and deeper and deeper. Were you forced to take the injections?
What injection?
You know the injections. Were you forced? Did you want to take them?
Which ones?
You know, the big C word. The last 4 years, where you were forced to cover your face so you can only be eyes. Eyes without a face. You ever hear that song?
No, I haven't.
Look it up. Eyes without a face. It tells you your whole story. Right? So you wore a mask, you covered your face for our masters, you became a non-person, and you took whatever injections, whatever poison they decided it to be, you took it into your body because you had no choice. And you don't know what they put in you. You got no clue, my brother. You're going to pass it on to your children. You're going to pass it on to their children. This is slavery, my brother. And I tell you, because I love you. Honestly, from my heart.
All right.
That's it.
I appreciate that.
Do what you got to do.
And here's the thing. So today, I know you believe what you believe, okay? So I'm not going to argue that.
Okay.
But technically, we were doing 103 in the 70 zone, right? Which is 33 over. I'm not going to do the 33 over, okay? Seem like
Yeah,
a
it's
great
like
guy.
8 miles
I'm
over
still going to take it to court. I'm going to still fight it because technically I shouldn't even be giving you any of this, right?
Yeah.
Technically, I have come to the understanding today that none of this is legal. None of this is legal. It is legal. Okay. It's not lawful. There's a big difference. You remember hearing during the 9/11 years, you're probably too young, but during the 9/11 years, they had a thing where you couldn't go on an airplane for this, and now you can't go on an airplane. You have to be, your ass, excuse my words, have to be searched, literally, just to travel in your own country. But there was a guy that was called the shoe bomber. He said that he had a bomb in his shoes, they said, right? So they had to do all these things. You got to take off your shoes now, put them through a thing.
Okay.
So his shoes my shoes are my property. Okay. Could I not have a bomb in them?
I mean, I hope not.
I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
But if he could put a bomb in them, right? Because you might say, well, driving, it's safety. That's what you started saying. Yeah, it's safety. It's safety. Has people stopped drinking and driving? No.
No, but that's why we're out here, right?
You actually have more drinking and driving today per capita than you did before the laws started. If you look it up.
Okay.
You know, Marco Muzzo killed a whole family. Should have been in jail for life for what he did. He spent a year and a half. Why? Because he got money. Is that lawful?
Again, like this is all.
I know. I'm taking it too far. I'll stop there. You do your thing.
Okay.
Take my money. I'll take it to court. It'll go where it goes, and that's it.
So I just got to write it up, but
No
I'm
problem.
not giving you the whole thing, okay?
It's okay. I'm still going to fight it because none of it's legal.
Yeah, and that's perfectly okay.
Yeah.
Right? It's just I have to do what I have to do, right?
Sorry, your name one more time.
Vinny.
Vinny.
Yeah.
Good Italian name.
I'm not Italian.
I am. What's your true name?
My real name is Avinash.
Sorry?
My real name is Avinash.
Abinath?
Avinash.
Avinash. Is that how it's pronounced?
That is, yeah.
Yeah, brother, it's You
This
know,
guy was
it's,
just a young kid, just a good kid. That
I'm going to ask you to do something if you want to or not. Maybe you could hide your face, maybe you could whatever. But I'm going to ask you to go once in a while, if you can, onto YouTube and look up a channel called Proper Instruction Motivates People.
Proper instruction.
Motivates people. Now, I may or may not put this up there, but I'm doing it just for my own records, right? And my own, you know, just my own stuff. But I would suggest you go on there. Now, you might not like the guy who's the owner of the channel. Most people don't.
The
He
proviso.
can come off as quite an asshole. But he has come to the point and he is doing what needs to be done, standing on the truth, our rights, and our freedoms. And right now, in the way of that, is the police and the military, right? They are the barrier between us and our slave owners. No one sees the face of our slave owners, no one. We only see the face of their muscle. And that's all you are to them. They would throw you in a furnace like this to protect their ass. They don't care about you. If your bosses, what's his name for York Region? What's the head of York Region?
Our chief's name?
Yeah.
Is Jim Mixon.
Oh, it's not the, I thought it was the black guy.
I don't think we've had a black chief, actually.
Or was that Toronto? Anyways, whatever. Those guys at the top, they know what's going on. They're connected with our real slave owners directly. They're just as bad. They would send you under the bus like this. Yeah. You have nothing to fear with me, by the way.
No,
I'm a
appreciate
peaceful
you,
man.
And you wouldn't have stopped if
Yeah.
and to talk to me if you were.
I'm a peaceful man.
Yeah.
That's all. Okay?
Yeah.
You done?
This is it. Again, like it's not the whole thing.
Let's see how much.
It's just $50.
$50.
Because
Yeah,
the ticket,
just a little $50.
the ticket, the normal ticket would have been 200. I didn't want to give you all that.
I
Hey, you
get
took your time. You're talking to me. I
get
appreciate that. Okay.
I get you.
I have a job to do, unfortunately.
I
Today.
hear you.
Okay.
Well, it's not
There
the
was
right
the-
job, but it is a job. I hear you.
Right. So
Good pension, good money.
Again, right? It's just that's the I'll give you a life.
Just please say, Vinny, I'll call you Vinny because that's easy for a wop
Yeah.
like me to know, to say. Don't lose touch. If I were to tell you, because you're a young man, like I said, you have the eyes of a good man, eyes are the window to the soul. It seems I can see that soul. And I believe it's a good soul. And I would suggest, I mean, maybe I shouldn't give anybody suggestions, but don't lose that, man. Because in this car, with this getup, it's going to be very easy to lose who Vinny is. Very easy. You know, and you may find yourself down the road losing Vinny and saying, hey, that dumb wop on the corner of freaking so-so and so-so might come to your mind and say, wait a minute, is this really what I want? Is this who I am? I'm just running my life for this freaking corporation that doesn't give a shit about any of us and would throw us under the bus like dogs and run us over. It's not you, brother. Take care, Vinny. I'm not gonna bust your balls no more.
Appreciate your time, Willie.
Take care, bro. Yeah, fuck you. I got a license. Yes, I do. I'm a fucking slave. I get it. Fuck. It's just $50. That's all. It's just $50.
Your thoughts, Lewis, Timmy, before we wrap up?
Just a little dick in your ass, not a big one, a small
Yeah.
one. Just relax. Take it in.
You gave him that whole fucking speech and didn't show him what it is he needs to see in order to embody it.
I know. That's why I was embarrassed. It's been a week now or more, and I didn't want to fucking show it, but because I'm embarrassed. I did everything in my power to make him do what's right and not do it myself.
No, you didn't. By the doing everything in your power to make someone else do what's right is you doing what's right, not talking about what's right and not doing it.
I get it.
At that point, he goes, yeah, great speech, Pops.
Now fuck off.
But at the end of the day, you still complied and cooperated because you're just as scared as I am of what's going to happen if we don't. So cool pep talk. I'm going to have to write it up now. Thanks.
Yeah, Lou, you're talking at him and you're like making a bunch of, I don't know, like you said some, I guess.
Woo! Joe Cool's wooing from the Joe Cool. Get up here and fucking woo officially on panel. If you're going to woo, you fucking get up here and you woo audibly. You don't woo from the chat.
Lou,
when do I get a woo? When do I get a that was dope? I don't get any of that anymore. It's reserved for Jack Talcott and a bunch of other retarded people. Let's go. Come back home, Joe Cool.
It wasn't though. That's the problem though. I knew these fuckers were gonna latch on. I knew it.
Lou,
that's why I didn't want to show it. I really didn't.
As your non-counsel, you keep you said you made about 37 claims and statements about everything. You called the guy evil. You said all kinds of shit, dude. You talked about Sri Lanka. You don't know a goddamn thing about Sri Lanka.
I know about Sri Lanka. I know what's going on in Sri Lanka.
Colombo, the fucking okay. I stand corrected. But all the other things, you presumed and assumed like 36 things about the guy, dude. And
I didn't say he was evil.
Said
I said he was on the side of evil. I said he's on the side of evil. I never said he was evil. I told him he's a good man.
Okay.
I believe he was. I really do. That's the shit part about it. I had every fucking opportunity. My mother's vehicle was on my own land. They couldn't tow it away.
Hang on.
Here's where I believe.
But you didn't do the fucking work before the interaction. You fuck. Like what are you doing? You're driving in Canada on the public trust roads, and you haven't thought about any of this beforehand. So you're displaying your true belief on the back of that vehicle, and then you're like, what are we even talking about? The plates are on the car. You haven't noticed them about your position and status. You're talking at them. You don't know what communication is. Communication is two ways, Lou. You have a problem for 61 years of your fucking life. Communication is back and forth. Yeah. See what you say and how they react, and then
I was just trying to get it all out. I know. I see how.
What is the point of that?
And I know people like Joe Stool and
talk about buttered sausage, where it comes from, what it does, why is it doing what it's doing? Get it out of my face. What about butter?
You basically did a Gary Busey.
That's not your jam. It's not your thing. You don't like
basically
it.
Just yelled shit at him.
I don't buy jam. I buy honey, and I kiss it on the lips.
You basically told the cop, let's talk about buttered sausage for like 30 minutes.
I used to call.
And he was just shocked. He was like shaking his head going, yeah, okay. What? You have a bomb in your shoe? Like, I don't know where you went with that one. Like you tried to, like Lou went so far the other way. This is why I don't deal with anyone. Because I'll be in Canadian court with Lou and he'll be explaining to the magistrate how he thought in the moment that the shoe bomber shouldn't have been searched because the bomb was his property. Like what? he started going, now think about it. Should you really search the shoe bomber if he's got a bomb in his shoe? That bomb's his property. Like what? Lou, you're not helping here, bro, with this nonsense terrorist accusation. What the fuck is your problem? This is why I don't go anywhere with anyone. This is why I won't link up with anyone.
What the fuck? You just went.
I don't care what you were trying to say. You literally told the guy, don't search the shoe bomber because the bomb in his shoe is his property. Worst example of jurisdiction possible.
Hold on.
Listen, is it really okay to search under the floorboards of John Wayne Gacy's house? Yeah, there's young men under there, but it's his house. He's got property rights. He's got sovereignty. Lou, shh. Bringing in bombs and federal crimes and shit into trying to establish property rights. What's your deal, Lou? Do we need to get you an old folks home or something? You like? Are you
Hold
Biden
on, I
out over
gotta-
there or what?
Fucking head.
What's he doing, Tim?
I don't know where I am. Which way do I go?
Now think about it.
The fucking headphones died. I had to change. Can you hear me?
One word, Lou.
Hello.
Don't.
Hello. Shut up, Timmy. For once in your life, shut up.
When it
Well, what did
comes
you
to
do on the airplane,
broadcasting,
Timmy?
we just have one word for Lou.
Timmy,
Don't.
what did you do on the airplane? Can you tell me again?
What do you mean on the airplane? What
Now,
do you
Timmy, follow my
Timmy,
logic
what did
here.
you do on the airplane?
Ted Bundy, he's got a car.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's got a plate and a license,
airport,
but it's
what did
still
you
his
say
own
again?
property. It's an automobile. Do we really need to search the trunk for whoever's in there? I mean, come on. You get what I'm saying, right, Ramesh?
Listen,
It's Vinny.
the whole
all right?
thing with
They
the
call
shoes,
me Vinny.
the whole thing with the shoes. Hey, listen, the whole thing with the shoes, I was trying to make the point that if a guy can put a bomb in a shoe, why shouldn't we license shoes? Right? For safety. For safety.
Right, but you took it off to a completely different area.
I
You
know.
made no
fucked it up.
sense.
I didn't
You
get-
scared the hell
I
out of
didn't get-
everyone. You scared Ramesh. You scared me, the audience.
That's why I stopped.
You thought
The
for
guy
sure
put
he's going to take you out
bomb,
right
I
there.
hope-
I'd have shot you right there. I really would have. I'd have shot you over the chest too, like this. I'd have been like, "What?" I'd hit you at least once, just to make sure that you're like not up to anything. Like I leg you real quick. I shoot you in the lower leg. You're not gonna die. There's no chance of you dying. But I just go. I'm pretty sure he just threatened me with a bomb. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I hit you one time over the chest.
That's
just
what
to
set
just
me
to
off,
stop
and
all
I
the
didn't
talking.
get-
You're talking way too much now.
I didn't get to finish because when he said that, he says, "Well, I hope you don't got a shoe." It kind of clicked in my head. This guy might think I got a bomb in my shoe. Anyways, I didn't finish it. The point is, if you could put a bomb in your shoe, let's register everybody's shoes and license them. Right? Does it make sense? That's what I was trying to say, but I kind of fucked it up. Madame Wap, what do you want? Now all the pricks
Speaking
are going
of
to use this, eh? They're
Yo,
gonna
speaking of
fucking use
shoes
it
and
against
bombs.
you.
Yo,
Okay.
speaking of shoes and bombs, I don't know if you guys if any of you saw when I was standing in the airport and like one of the Filipinos or he threw his passport at his wife and then nothing happened after that when I was standing there. And then dude, on the flight, it made like national news, I guess. On my flight, some slaves were fighting and a Filipino guy just started fighting some other people. That's pretty funny. And yeah, I was on one of those flights. It's pretty awesome. But I mean, and then he got arrested right after. It's pretty great. This is
Lou's
weird.
like giving them bad ideas. Like he's giving them worse ideas. He's like, let's license shoes. Lou, you're not helping. You don't have to bring up like extra shit that they could do. You could just bring up, like, hey, bro, you have a bunch of guns on you right now and in that car, and I'm not allowed to have them. Do you think that's right?
I said that.
Yeah, you didn't have to bring giving them extra ideas about shit they could do. Like you like DeCastro. DeCastro literally said from himself, why can't we just chip people and face scan them and insert them into a digital credit system? They're working on it. Stop giving them bad ideas. We're not licensing shoes. We're not doing face scans on everybody and chipping them with GPS.
The point is, anything can be dangerous. Your fucking jacket, you could hide something in it. Why shouldn't you license a jacket? You know, your hat, you can put something under your hat.
I'm starting to, the more I do this broadcast, I'm agreeing with the whole idea of licensing. Like most of the time, you have to be licensed to broadcast on official airwaves to avoid having lube ass on the panel. So, like, you know, what's the untold harm and loss that's coming to all the audience that have been forced to listen to you because I'm unlicensed? I might go the other way.
Fuck you. When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me, okay?
I love you, Lou. You know that. I just think you're terrible when it comes to being a part of this media thing.
It is what it is. It is
Your broadcast kryptonite.
It is what it is.
Half that interaction, we couldn't even hear what was going on. Like what
What do you mean? You couldn't hear
how
that?
were you recording? Did you have something hanging off your body that you put the phone on? It wasn't in your hand. What were you doing?
Yeah, it was in my hand.
Well, why were you all the way to the left? Why don't you just have the damn phone in front of you, in front of both of you?
I don't know. I just held it up the way it was.
I'd love to see the angle of, like, from his perspective. I'd love to see his body cam of how you were holding that phone all the way out to the side, like with your hands out to the side, talking about bombs in your shoe. He goes, this guy's clearly insane. Let me get out of here. I'm just going to give you, dude, you went 10 over, whatever. Here's the paper. I got to get out of here. This guy's like, we're on a back road. He's insane. He's giving me a 30-minute speech.
On a property, there's dogs coming out.
He's holding the phone out to his side. Like,
he's talking about my gun. He's got bombs in his shoes. What the fuck's going on? I told him he's got nothing to fear. I'm a peaceful man.
He's got blood on his beard. He's drinking animal blood.
No, that's
you should try that bit one day. Just pull a carcass of something out like that looks like it might be human flesh, like you do on the broadcast, and just start sucking on like blood and meat. Just go, no, bro, do whatever you got to do. You do what you got to do. I'm a very loving man.
It happened once. I got pulled over with guns all over me because the back of my truck was leaking blood. I had a deer. I picked up a deer on the road. Somebody hit it. And I didn't realize that as I was driving, it just spilled blood all over the road, all over the back of my truck. Cops stopped me, guns, everything. I said, whoa, it's a deer. Relax. Open the fucking trunk. You'll see. Open the tailgate. It's a deer. They thought I had some body in there or whatever they thought.
Oh, yeah. They saw you driving around. They thought for sure there was some dead hooker or something creepy back there. Some deviant activity.
Another time, I thought they were going to kill me. One time they pulled me. I pulled into a fucking store. I had my guns beside me, legally, lawfully, whatever you want to say. And because you're allowed to display your guns if you have them in your presence, right? But if you leave them, you can't leave them in a vehicle that they can be seen because somebody can look in the vehicle, steal them, whatever. So you have to hide them. But my guns were with me, right beside me. I was hunting. And these cops pull up. And they sent the youngest rookie in to my windshield, and his knuckles are white, squeezing this trigger of this gun pointed right at my face. Don't get your hands up. I said, bro, I'm a hunter. I'm a hunter. It's a legal gun. I'm a hunter. I could see my head blowing off the way that kid was shaking and squeezing. And I'm like ready for it just to come into my fucking forehead. These fuckers. Then they beat me up like a fucking dog. When I had a broken leg, smacked me with the gun, everything. Luckily, the judge threw it out. She realized it was all bullshit and she threw it out.
All right, give me the final words. I'm out of here. We got to end this at some point.
Okay, love you guys.
I love you, brother.
7:49. I'm going to go buy a lottery ticket.
It's 7:49. Do you know where your obese, irresponsible Italian father is? Public service announcement.
Timmy,
buying lottery
before
tickets.
I go, Timmy, can you tell me one more time what happened at the airport? One more time, please. Timmy.
I was a fat Italian pig, and I went up to the plane and said, "Can I fly?
Yeah.
Will I fly?"
They said, "No, sir, you can't fly with an obese Italian pig."
See you at least. While you stand. I want to see you.
No animals on the flight.
Listen, I want to know, can my fat Italian pig fly on this? That's what I want to know.
There was a person in chat called what was it? My father's a pig. I said, "Hey, Patricia, is that you?" You guys see that?
Excuse me.
My father's a pig.
I bought this ticket. I bought 2 tickets, business class, and it's a big pig, I want to know, can my pig be the second ticket? Is
Don Timione, please give us access to this traveling rights like these politicians you keep in your pocket, like so many nickels and dimes.
Listen.
Look, if it's too big, we could saw the arms off, right? Then
I agree. I agree. I will keep the peace. But one thing I won't forget if a bolt of lightning were to strike my pig, that I do not forget.
If my pig is run over on the way home from work, if my fat Italian pig is struck by a bolt of lightning, or if a hitman was to, let's say, do a job on him, I would happen to take this personally.
And that I do not.
If a corporate enforcer of safety happened to strip the property rights of my pig, I would take this personally.
Timmy, get control of your woman. You're bringing disgrace to the family. Okay, see you guys later.
All right, Lewis.
Hey, and all you
Bye.
motherfuckers out there that want to use this against Paul, it's got nothing to do with Paul. If I'm a bitch, I'm a bitch. But it's got nothing to
Right.
do with Paul. I know what they're going to do.
I totally
They're
agree.
going to use it against you.
No,
Okay.
they're not. I'm quite sure they're not. It's really just for you.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
Bye. My final words, you know.
I always wanted more for him, Timmy.
Yeah.
Senator Lubestone.
Fredo
Governor Lubestone.
Yeah.
Sovereign man Lubestone.
He was banging cocktail waitresses 2 at a time. I had to, you know, slap him around a bit.
Get some reliable people on this next job of traveling freely. Maybe Clemenza, Brian O'Shea, someone of this sort.
All right. I'm going to go be a free man now. See you later.
All right, Timmy.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Another one in the books. We're going to leave it there. Resounding success, despite whatever that last incident was, Mr. Bastone. Today, we handled all family business. So I'll be joining you folks back tomorrow, somewhere between 12 and 3 MDT, as is usual. Please like, share, subscribe, things of this nature. I'll meet you back here. Mazel from out west. From the, what's the gentleman's name from out west? Where's Timmy when I need him? Man, I can't believe I forgot the man's name. Man, I need to get on some fucking mushrooms, not the psychedelic kind. I need to get back to some more elements and minerals. Taking the fucking sea moss. But yeah, I'm going the way of Joe Biden, shaking hands with American flags. I'm talking to nobody. I'm forgetting references. Calling a dead woman up to receive an award. It's getting crazy over here. Timmy, what's the fucking guy's name now? Now I gotta ask him. Now I gotta break the fourth wall. Fuck everything up. It's going so well. What's the Jew? My Jew congressman. What's the Jew from out west? They call him. Not the Mick Kraut friend. What's the Jew from Hyman Roth? There it is. Man, it's been a long day. All right, 4.5 will do it to you. I'm out of here, people. Mazel from out west. Mr. Hyman Roth, thanks you for being here. All right, say goodnight to the bad guy and the guy who's going out of his mind more than each day.
I always tell it. Even when I lie.
Listen, okay, I know what I'm offering.
So say good night to the bad guy. Go on.
You get to receive what you receive.
Last time before I say
I know what I'm offering. And I'm offering, well,
The great reset's happening. So when you get all your pretty and nice shit taken away and your bullshit job that leads to nowhere, and you're forced back on the land and have to be self-sustainable and co-creative and work with what is, this talk about your feelings and your ego is going to go right out the window, because the God and the elements and nature are going to present what needs to happen next 9 out of 10 times. That's the difference between me and you. I got it in me, not on me, just like you do. I'm trying to work it out, bring the subconscious to the conscious and figure out who and what I am. Am I good or evil? Am I real and true? Am I a narcissistic, egotistical deceiver? That's the difference. I'm actually authentically trying to work it out while you lie to everyone and project your negative aspects of self onto me, and I don't appreciate it. And the universe don't appreciate it either. And the students of life in this audience don't appreciate it either. This isn't about love and money. This isn't about chasing bags or anything else in and of the world. This is about the Sophie, right? The love of knowledge, the love of wisdom, the love of understanding of self and applying it to actualize and realize and get better results for yourself and everyone else. I thought that's what we were doing here. So let's get the game back in its proper perspective. The motherfucker doing this shit shouldn't have to talk about it because you folks want to lie on it. It's embarrassing to me. I didn't come on here with the intention of the understanding that this is supposed to be for business or a hobby. That's why I show up the way I do 500 days straight. That's why I have a care in my heart with passion. That's why I do what's true and what's right and see through you motherfuckers and get amazing results for me. We can't allow the generalized experience of life and everything it has to offer, good, bad, and indifferent, to hold us back or keep us paralyzed or keep us fearful or self-doubting or unloving and uncaring of ourselves. How do I know? Because I look into me. That's all this is. I can see further than the rest. I can interpret beyond what's told and shown, and I can amalgamate and communicate the cause and effect and the root of the state of consciousness and awareness. That is a astounding testimony to the work that I've done on myself in this world and in this life and the practices I've walked with other people. The question and answer, the fellowship, the co-creational endeavors, and the conversation that leads to understanding. But again, we can't appeal to false emotions and false authority. That is the cornerstone of cognitive dissonance. You can't say that I'm respectable, righteous, honorable, presentable, and then I have balls and then turn around and hate me or catch feelings over me, be in that and live in that when you don't like it or when it doesn't turn out as favorably for you as you would have hoped or expected, right? That's the theme of a true common bond that goes long term versus the shallow, materialistic, worldly connections that come and go. It is what it is. Some people are down forever. Some people are down for the ride until they got to get off, right? And some people ain't down at all. So through the life experiences, firsthand experiences, through the tests and challenges, you learn more and more who and what is meant for you and who or what is probably not going to be able to sustain the ride. And that's okay.
God of all media.